of Alabama. This means the city is now dedicated to historic preservation of properties within the city limits and will establish its own historic preservation commission that will then be approved by the U.S. National Park Service. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is the Trump country. We live in the southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Is cocaine a stronger up?
Yeah.
So you're way up cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
How you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the Tuesday edition of the program. No Judge Napolitano today. Hopefully we'll have him back next week or another day here this week. No Eddie Bader today. He's out there real estating. But Byron Sheehy has returned to the studio. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, Joey. What's up, my man?
Good to see you. I like that hat.
I love this jam. This is all you?
Yeah, I made this. I was bored on the holiday.
You got a title for it?
I just called it Funky Saturday because it was Saturday and it was a little funky.
I was going to go Funky Feel Good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And I've been making more music lately, and it just seems to be flowing out of me for some reason.
It's
I like
good for
that.
the soul, man.
Yeah, it's a good way. And I'm getting faster. That took 2 hours. Nice. I mean, not the playing part, but the mixing and the getting it exactly right. But there's so much going on again today, just like yesterday. It's like we are really back in the swing of things here in the new year. In particular, Donald Trump, moment after moment, is dropping bombs at that press conference he just did. I don't know if you caught any of this.
Mm-mm.
Oh, so you get to react in real time.
Ooh, our favorite game.
Yeah. Oh, man, he was dropping bombs. It's going to be a lot of fun to cover that. Of course, we got an interview I didn't get to yesterday with the incoming chief of staff for Trump, Susie Wiles, who's freezing people out already. Apparently, there's a report from NBC that she's already limiting access to the president.
I mean, that's her gig. She protects the president.
Exactly.
And she's damn good at it.
Yeah, and I think she's going to be fantastic. And then one quote from the interview is, all gas, no brakes in first 100 days. Now, Senator Tuberville has introduced a bill to save women's sports. Mm-hmm. His big Title IX legislation, that's being introduced. The Laken Riley Act is being voted on in the House of Representatives, I believe, as we speak. Senator Britt, really pushing that in the Senate, got John Fetterman to join, co-sponsoring the Laken Riley Act. So that's going on. Also, Senator Britt was named deputy whip by Barrasso. So, climbing the ladder there pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And we've got some more Alabama stories. One I don't even want to mention because it just pisses me off, honestly, but we'll get to it. But let's have some fun initially. Let's get into Trump dropping some bombs here because, oh my goodness, I can't wait. Somebody texted me that we're seeing history be made, and I'm like, who knew it would be so entertaining? Like, so daggum entertaining. So I don't even know where to begin. Well, let's go with this one. What's that big body of water that's not Lake Martin, not Lake Jordan, that big body to the south.
South of here,
like the coast in Alabama. Like, what are you looking out into? What is that called again? I forget. The Gulf of...
A lot of people make the mistake and call it the ocean, but it is not that.
Is it the Gulf of Mexico, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what it's called, the Gulf of Mexico. Well, apparently, Donald John Trump, the incoming 47th president of the United States, the president-elect himself, just said this about an hour ago. He wants to change things up.
We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
And he was just getting started. We're changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Wow.
He's obviously in good standing with the missus still, because most politicians, if they rename something, they rename it after their wives if they're not in a good standing.
Right. No, I think did you see them dancing all around New Year's Eve? Melania was getting in on the dance moves with
Has
Trump.
He stopped dancing?
No, this is why I voted for the man. The dancing. This is the main reason, and I'm happy that the dancing continues. But as Trump is talking about the Gulf of America, and he's not also leaving out this idea of Greenland, Don Jr., along with Charlie Kirk of all people, just arrived in Greenland, and they're doing a whole tour. They had a huge crowd meet them at the airport. And here is Don Jr. At a statue of the founder of Greenland. Let's tune into this.
Guys, we're here in Nuuk, Greenland. This is the founder, 1721. That yellow house with the red top, that was his original spot. That's where he moved. This is where it all started out here. Just incredible scenery. Super cool stuff.
Man, it looks cold there. We think it's cold here in Alabama, which it is for Alabamians. It's pretty cold. But dadgum, that's a lot of white snow right there. So Trump's talking about changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
All for that.
He is also not backing off on the Panama Canal or Greenland by any means. He's not backing off at all. In fact, one reporter at this press conference pressed him on, how far are you going to take this? Are you just trolling or what's the deal here, Mr. President? What are you actually up to here? Here's Trump's response.
It's Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty?
Hold on, back up. Are you going to take off military or economic pressure? Hold on, we got to hear that again.
The world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us?
No, I'm not ruling that out. That's the whole point of being the president and running the government.
Everything's on the table. But for real, though, what's the end game here on Greenland?
I don't know. Well, Greenland makes a lot of sense from geopolitics.
Well, I understand that. And all
the race to the Arctic, it also guards our northeastern flank and these sorts of things.
Well, the amount of minerals that they've discovered there, it's
right,
hundreds of billions of dollars.
And we've already been operating bases there, and Denmark's not too happy about it. Some folks in Greenland are like, we need to be independent, call ourselves independent anyway. So I don't know if it'll happen, but he might actually strike a good deal. It's sort of like, here, we're going to put a lot of pressure on you, and if you play ball, we're going to reward you greatly. Old carrot and stick idea. But let's see what Trump says about, what's the whole plan here?
us a little bit about what your plan is. Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now.
No, and it's sort of like Trump just throwing out idea after idea after idea. And then on Canada, because he's, trolling Canada, right? Trudeau resigning yesterday. It's a beautiful thing to see Justin Trudeau neutered. But here Trump, again, this was just moments ago, talking about the whole, Canadian 51st state.
But why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things. They should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function.
So, I mean, he's like, it's not just these little reports he's putting out there. And it seems everybody's a little giddy. Everybody's a little nervous. They're like, what's this guy actually up to here? It's kind of beautiful that January 6th yesterday went off without much fanfare. I think I saw a snowball fight.
Did you?
Yeah.
Citizens, incumbents.
Yeah, citizens just having fun with the snowball
They
fight.
didn't throw any snowballs at any elected officials?
No, I didn't see any fist bumps between law enforcement and, plain clothes and uniform. Any of that. I didn't see any of that. But Trump was asked about January 6th at this press conference. And, well, again, he just seems very empowered. Is that the word? Empowered? Happy? Like he's about to break out into dance once again?
Police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot. She had never been shot. She was shot for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd, and the crowd was made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that. But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun, okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment, a lot of good reasons. But there wasn't one gun that they found. And why didn't they find the bomber, the pipe bomber? They know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far.
Indeed it has. So it's like, okay, we're going to ask you about January 6th. He seems unfazed. Like, I have a feeling that this is going to be a lot of fun once he's actually sworn in, but that's about 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks away. It can't happen soon enough. So here's Trump again, because they peppered him with all sorts of different types of questions. This is Trump addressing the whole hostage situation. What a hostage situation? Oh, yeah, there's still American hostages being held by Hamas. So what does Trump got to say about that?
Who delegates better than President Trump? He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better get it. You better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will be
Before I
paid,
take
or
office.
that all hell must be paid if you don't release the hostages.
You know what that means, don't you?
Well,
do I have to define it for you? Look, all
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break
tell me
out.
that.
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Can you elaborate?
And it will not be good for Hamas and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back?
I don't know when.
So Trump sticking to the statements, like people say, oh, he's being vague, but that's the whole point of that sort of threat. Like, you don't want to say, we're going to bomb you in this exact spot here. No, all hell will break loose. Try me. Well, what does he mean? That's the whole point, that you don't know what it exactly means, but you get the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
You get the message loud and clear. So I just wanted to jump in right into the Trump press conference, folks, because he really does seem ready and rearing to go. And it wasn't just like, oh, we're going to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, which I think would be amazing. He also announced some big, more investments. And I got a feeling he's going to continue to do this at press conferences where he'll have executives from all over the world announcing a lot of money. This is a $20 billion announcement. Not much money for the government, but it's a lot of money in the private sector. Let's listen in.
Business leaders in the Middle East, indeed the world. He's a founder and chairman of Damac Properties. Hussein Sejwani, very respected gentleman. And I'm thrilled to announce today that Damac will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. It's a great thing, and I believe he will say that he's doing it because of the fact that he was very inspired by the election. They wouldn't do it without that election, I can tell you. A lot of people wouldn't. You saw last week where we have somebody who's going to go from 100 to $200 billion. And we have many other people, and we'll be bringing some of them out. Some of them like to do it somewhat more quietly, and some don't. And they feel so strongly about the country that they want to let people know about it. But it's an honor to have such a great investor investing in our country. The investment will support massive new data centers across the Midwest, the Sun Belt area, and also to keep America on the cutting edge of technology and artificial intelligence. He's very big into the data centers, and that's going to be a very hot item in the coming years, as you know, with AI. In particular, the first phase of the project will be in Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana.
Man, that's all over the daggum country. So I think you're going to get the fun stuff. You're going to get the serious stuff, which is great news. You get the vague threat that I think is as serious as a heart attack, and everybody around the world should be paying attention to that. But, I mean, how are you feeling about all this, Byron? We haven't talked in a while, especially publicly, on these airwaves. And, I mean, how are you feeling as this transition, because it has felt like a very long transition. I know it's the same exact amount of days as any other month, but it has felt like a long time to me.
I think the president's administration is primarily responsible for that feeling.
The Biden administration,
yes, they seem to be doing every little squirrely thing that they can on their way out, but it's not going to deter the head man here. One of the things that I'm kind of curious is all the tax reform issues. I saw something earlier today that said that they're trying to combine a few large bills, and I know that kind of gets away from the promise to get away from omnibus bills and address things one by one, but these seem like something that are so the public is craving and calling for these actions. Border security, drilling on public land, rolling back climate change red tape, and then the other part is, like I said, the tax cuts.
Yeah, and it looks like Trump yesterday was saying, I prefer one big, beautiful bill
On those.
But Lindsey Graham,
Mm-hmm.
who loves women, Lindsey Graham wants it to be like 2 skinny bills. And Lindsey's argument, he might have a point, is we can get it through the Senate faster if the bills are slimmed down and we just do each one through reconciliation. On the tax front, you're right. They have to stop, number one, the initial Trump tax cuts from expiring.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump also wants to add 2, no tax on tips, which would be massive. No tax on Social Security.
He's got to fulfill the campaign promises.
Yes. And if, again, Susie Wiles, the incoming chief of staff, in a second, we'll get to her big interview with Axios. The money quote here is all gas, no brakes in first 100 days. But you do have to wonder, with 2 weeks left, what is the Biden administration going to do next? Because this week sort of started with farce. Like, okay, Denzel Washington gets a medal. Like, who doesn't love Denzel Washington? That guy's great. And he was amazing in Gladiator, too. But, like, you gave I thought he was great in Gladiator, too.
I did not know he was in Gladiator. So.
Yeah, he steals that movie.
Where's Samuel L.? Because he's in every movie.
I don't think Samuel L. got a call. His agent declined, at least, on that one. So it's one, okay, your favorite celebrity, but then it started to get weirder. This big presidential, like, medal giveaway to Bill Nye, the science guy who's an engineer. And
I mean, does that really matter?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. And this is what I mean. It's a little farcical and silly, but then it goes to like, okay, it's farcical, it's silly, but Hillary Clinton, you're giving it like looking like she's in the middle of a new Star Trek series with her new outfit and hairdo.
I mean, if anyone's deserving of the Lifetime Democrat Underachiever Award, it's Hillary Clinton.
And then the kicker was like, George Soros? Really? George Soros? So these aren't big deals because it's just a medal. But it's like, okay, what are you going to do next? You got the Hunter pardon. You got a lot of stuff they've been doing. This offshore drilling ban, hopefully Trump's going to be able to, and the Republicans are going to be able to break through that quickly. But my sense is that they're trying to do everything they can because it does seem like in the House, in the Senate, and this new staff he's bringing in, that the Republicans might actually be on the same page here.
Or at least I give them a year. As soon as they start doing polling for the midterms for Congress, that's when you're going to start to see a rift. But hey, throwing the weight behind Speaker Johnson and stopping that fight from actually becoming worse than it probably could have been.
Right.
I thought that was good politics. Saved a lot of capital there. Just move forward, pass the agenda. Let's go.
And then in a second, folks, we got to hit a break, and we'll be right back. But we didn't talk much about this whole Cybertruck exploding outside of Trump Tower or the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, the whole terror attack in New Orleans, but in particular with the Cybertruck, people have now pulled that into the whole, like, no, I was about to blow the whistle on the drones, and he wanted to send a message by blowing up the Cybertruck in front of a Trump property. And at this point, I really don't know what to believe.
It was bizarre, like reading some of his family's accounts of who he was as a person and a member of the military, and to what if he did leave that message, like, understand his rationale for, hey, American public, you only respond to things that go boom and have pretty fireworks. So I get that aspect of it, but it just doesn't make sense on a few different levels.
Yeah, and I'm still wondering about some of this stuff. When it doesn't add up, I just start getting a little suspicious of everybody, even folks I like.
What was the connection between the two? They were just both in Afghanistan at the same time?
Oh, and they both have been at Fort Bragg. No, they both serve in similar units, but like weren't at the same time. They were both at Fort Bragg, but not in the same group. And you know how many thousands of soldiers go through Fort Bragg.
Has anyone ever been able to solidify a nexus where they actually did come into contact?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
I don't think they're all that connected. And I think, I've got a report here from the Daily Caller how the FBI, Biden's FBI, let ISIS acolytes slip right through their fingers. So I think it really was a guy who was an American citizen who life started coming at him hard, beating him up, and he took the wrong turn. And he just sort of doubled down on this radical thing. And Yeah, because there's footage of them putting IEDs all over Bourbon Street. And I don't know, I've partied down there. You've probably had a good fun time down on Bourbon Street.
A few.
It's incredibly unnerving to think, because I've been on those sidewalks, seeing that truck just plow through that whole area. Like, how did they let that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have sidewalk barricades that horses can go around, people can go around.
Some of those side alley streets, though, you can navigate those fairly easily.
So we got a lot to cover today, but I wanted to begin with the Trump press conference because it's like, okay, the transition is slowly coming to an end. He is feeling more and more like the president. He's changing things, kind of shaking up the world, making a lot of threats in a good way, making a lot of promises in a good way. We'll see how it all shakes out. But the number one takeaway for me is it is odd that the Republicans seem to be behaving themselves at the moment. They better.
Mm-hmm.
They better. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And at Dillon Rings, they're a full-service jewelry shop. Whether you're looking for a great jewelry selection or custom design work, repair work, cleaning up that jewelry like spa treatments, they really can do it all there at Dillon Rings. And I'm looking at a Facebook post on Dillon Rings. Wow, that's beautiful. It says, on a cruise, a man bought his wife these two Marquise rubies. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but 2 rubies are beautiful. Several months later, he passed away. His wife wanted us to design something with his diamond wedding band and the rubies that she could wear to remember him and their time, travels, and life together. Each story is unique. Each life has its own story. Let us, there at Dillon Rings, help you tell your story. And that is what a lot of people do with the custom design work. It could be you're going to, let's get funky, fresh medallions and go have fun with it. Josh will do that sort of work. But often he's doing work that's quite poignant, that helps you remember somebody you lost. And this is absolutely beautiful. I couldn't have drawn that up or imagined that, but that's just how good Josh Ryder is, combining that diamond wedding band with those rubies. And it's a beautiful pendant that she can wear now. And it's that sort of heart and just talent that they have there at Dillon Rings. So y'all check them out today. You can always go on DillonRings.com or search for Dillon Rings, D-Y-L-A-N Rings on the Book of Faces or Instagram. But I really encourage you to stop by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery. It's kind of just off of Atlanta Highway where the whole AUM complex is, right before Taylor Road. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie Ryder that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the health care of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
I've just been feeling so sluggish lately. You should try the Metamucil 2-week challenge. The Metamucil 2-week challenge? Yeah, Metamucil 4-in-1 fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Start your daily routine now, and in 2 weeks, you could be feeling great. Well, it's been 2 weeks. How you feeling? Lighter and feeling great. If you want to feel lighter by promoting digestive health, sign up to take the 2-week challenge at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This is Matt Woodham with Woodham Southside Firestone. As a businessman, you need to watch your advertising dollar. We've been using Blue Water Broadcasting for many years. Blue Water Broadcasting is the biggest bang for your buck. Blue Water Broadcasting and Woodham Southside Firestone, great combination.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Boy, after that very frigid Tuesday morning, it doesn't get much better during the daytime, with high temperatures only in the low to mid 40s, wind chill still a factor, and sunshine. Clear skies, frigid again tonight. Overnight low temperature 24, but the wind chill factor will fall to the teens once again. Thursday and Friday, high in the middle 40s. I think the coldest will be Wednesday night into Thursday morning, low 22. Some risk of some rain and snow, but a very small risk late Thursday night into early Friday. No accumulation and no travel problems expected in our part of the state. High Friday in the mid-40s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low-price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. Leslie York was just commenting that that some of the clips when you're watching online, I really appreciate you watching online, Leslie. Sometimes the clips volumes change. You can't hear them sometimes. I'm aware of it. I don't have an immediate fix for that, but on the technical side, I'll be working on it. I noticed that when I was kind of doing an audit of the yesterday's show. So you're not the only one who has that issue, and it's not a problem on your end. It's a problem with my setup here, but we're working on it. 272-9228, like I said. Let's go to Soldier Boy. How you doing?
Speaking of issues, I got a lot of those. Damn.
Oh, I know. Well, where do you want to begin?
Well, here's the funny thing about it is Mr. Trump has to be careful you don't turn into Joe Biden with his plagiarism. I remember when you said if we didn't have the American hostages, dead or alive, from Hamas, by the time he steps in and swears in on the 20th, he was going to, bring fire and flames and hell down?
Yeah, there's going to be hell to pay.
And then and Mr. Trump says that's pretty deep. Because do you know who you copied? Do you remember it was President Ronald Reagan when the hostages in the embassy from Iran, when they took him, and Jimmy Carter had that failed helicopter attempt towards the end of his career and everything. But what did he say? Reagan said, I love what he said. Now I had just joined the military, and I was at Rhein-Main, just down the road from Wiesbaden, which is another Air Force base, but it's basically a military hospital, right? So the next thing he says, quote unquote, if those hostages are not released the time I get sworn in, I'm going to bring the full force and the bluntness of the military on you, and you don't want that. My friend of mine calls me the next day. He says, Rodney, you're not going to believe this. I was like, what? He said, you're not going to believe who's down here right now. I said, who? He said, all hostages have been released, and they're down here getting medically checked out. All he had to do, Ronald Reagan, was make one threat, one promise, and they respect strength.
Oh yeah, and we'll see what Trump can actually pull off here. With the fire and fury comments, he reserved that, I think, for North Korea, and that's an allusion to Truman. So that's an allusion. That's essentially saying we got nukes without saying the word nuke.
Something tells me that we have like Delta squads and everything ready to go, and Israel is going to just let us do our job. We're going to let them know, hey, we're in your country, come to get our people out, no matter what. Just stand aside and let us do our job.
Well, and I think Trump wants this to what's going on between Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, the back and forth, the salvos back and forth every few months to stop. Because we really are playing with fire by stretching this thing out. Everybody is. And so I think Trump is the one who could probably actually get a lid on this thing.
RL. So, yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to get an order through. But the thing about it is, I don't think Mr. T is joking about what he's ready to use.
No, I don't think he's joking at all.
And I think they should realize that he's not. And I think they do realize that. So they better cough up some live or dead bodies. They better cough up something. Because I can't believe the news never brought this. And the hostages were never on the news hardly front page.
No, it wasn't the same way as the Iranian hostage situation at all.
Sure wasn't. Remember, that was every day, day 34, day 35, day 36, American hostages still,
Right.
Here, it's like, no big deal.
Well, that would make, the administration look bad. It's not like, they covered up the man's health and well-being, too, at the same time. So
it did make him look bad, at expense of American lives. Great way to go, Joe. You're just a spot-on kind of guy.
And it does seem like the Trump effect's happening not just in geopolitics. I heard you talking to the show before ours about this whole Mark Zuckerberg coming out, changing the procedures of Meta, and I think it is a genuine change. I've always thought whether it was Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey or a lot of these tech people that started these companies, that they've essentially been held hostage. That or their system. Yeah, I think they've been.
Wait a minute, Joey. They're going to play the victim card? Oh.
They're not. They don't need to play the victim card. I'm saying, reading in between the lines, I think these guys made something. They made billions of dollars. And then as soon as you become successful, Washington comes knocking. And they do not take yes for an answer. As soon as you say yes, we'll play ball. They then continue to ask for more. And Zuckerberg even says it subtly at the end of his 5-minute announcement. He said the U.S. government was pressuring them to censor a bunch of stuff. And I think now that Trump is going to be taking back over, but also Elon providing competition and an alternative route and fighting back a lot of these powers that be, lets people like Dorsey, with whatever he's doing now, or Zuckerberg even, kind of breathe a little bit.
Well, I just think Zuckerberg will always be a flaming left-wing liberal. I don't care what he changes. But you're right about the government trying to get in. Do you remember they broke up Ma Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Ma Bell's getting too big and too powerful and everything. We're going to have to split them up. And then didn't they split Apple up too? Because they're getting too strong and too big?
I don't think so.
Well, I think some of the divisions they did. They broke up different branches of them and everything. But it seems like the government, I mean, that's free enterprise if you grow big. What's the deal about it,
Yeah, but they want you to still be big and operate and make money, but it's like, hey, we need, think of the Twitter files. We need back channels. We need our own people in your organization. Like, we need sort of informal ways of nudging you and suggesting things to you, and you better take down certain speech or there's going to be hell to pay. Hey, we might change Section 230. We might change this law, that, or the other. Yeah. And they don't just do it with the tech companies. This has been a trick of the trade for a long time. People always talk about money in politics. I'm like, yes, that's a problem, but it does cut the other way, where it's politics and people's money. And the extortion racket, a lot of these folks, whether they're chairs of committees or just sitting senators, it is a pretty remarkable game they play, the way they threaten different industries and sometimes play different industries off one another. Mm-hmm. And it's all just threats that they don't necessarily pass the bill. They always just have that ready to go.
One thing I want before I die? I want the dismantlement of the Patriot bill.
Patriot Act?
Patriot Act, yeah.
Stand in line, brother.
Amen.
Yeah, because I think that is the biggest invasion on our. It's just an excuse to get in our biz.
Yeah.
The government to get in our biz.
Yeah,
oh God. Yeah, and those FISA courts. Oh, they're really good. They check everything, make sure it's legit. They sign anything they put there. I could have put a piece of paper on a list of groceries. They would have signed off on that, or would have co-signed on the card. They'd sign anything. Those damn people.
It is one of the greatest flauntings of the Constitution, like the breaking of the Fourth Amendment. What has been done in the name of national security and spying and whatnot. It's absurd.
Well, you know what? I'd rather have a little less security. Okay. I'd rather not have TSA at the damn door, and I'll take my chances on getting on a damn plane.
It would be a nicer experience, but I'm telling you, man, I will fly out of Montgomery because that's pretty easy. A lot easier than going through Atlanta security. And even if I'm late on a leg back from Atlanta to Montgomery to get back home, I'll take it.
Montgomery's got TSA agents, don't they?
Yeah, but it's like hardly, you go early, there's hardly anybody there. Like, it's easy to go in and out. As opposed to a mad dash in Atlanta, or Boston's airport wasn't too bad. That was the recent.
I remember when I was stationed in Germany. When I was stationed in Germany, do you remember the Israeli Airlines El Al?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we had terrorism and hijackings were going on at the time. They never had an Israeli plane hijacked. You know why? Because they had Israeli soldiers there with fully automatic weapons by the gates, their doors, and everywhere. They were sending a message: "Don't mess with us. We'll use it." And this was in Germany, so Germany was biting off on it that you can have your soldiers with fully automatic weapons on German property.
Oh yeah, no, they're not playing, and they had every reason. Talk about when that was like every other week, right? All the hijackings.
I remember, yeah, it was like every other week it was going on, and they didn't know what to do. So we bring along the Patriot Act. Oh, that's great. To just take away more of my freedoms.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. Even with all this talk of ISIS-K, which I always suspect is pig Latin for CIA, that some don't want this stuff to go away. But I'm right there with you. It's got to stop. Scaring American people so we can take their wealth and liberty and not actually keep them safe is.
Absolutely.
I'm tired of that scam. I appreciate the call, though.
All right, later.
Later. 272-9228.
Did I hear you say you're against the trust busting?
No, I think it's more complicated than what's sold publicly. I think the whole antitrust thing has always, even back in the days of Teddy Roosevelt, not been the government is because we're philosopher kings and experts and we know what's non-competitive behavior. You kept your prices fixed. So you're fixing price. You raised your prices because you can. And no, you lowered your price. Like you literally can be got. Mm-hmm. It's very vague, unlike you're manipulating the market. And it often was a function of one group of rich guys and business interests were backing certain politicians that would use antitrust to attack another group of rich guys and politicians and business interests. Right.
But just on the principle of like market share. Is there not a certain level that we get to having a monopoly or something like that where it's in our best interest to bust it up?
No, I'm in more the camp where I don't worry about that purely. You can use certain examples that are more local where it's like, well, they're the only bakery shop in town. And it's like, yeah, good. But the classic example is Standard Oil, and Standard Oil was already getting competitors and already had competitors popping up long before they actually even were broken up.
All right. So what about like Google?
Google's a good question. Well, here's the problem. We talk about it's a pure free market. No, it's not. Google is deeply embedded with the United States government and intelligence agencies. So that's a whole other question. Mm-hmm. Or you talk about Amazon and their marketplace, or Apple and their stranglehold in the App Store and all these things. But I tend to believe you should actually have free markets, not just more government intervention to help correct for the past intervention while everybody's essentially playing some crony game against one another, using the power of government to do it. I don't like it.
I think that trust busting is going to be the next wave of populism.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more centered around the major corporations and pushing back against them.
Yeah, and we'll see how it works out. It's just every time I see that, like, we're going to go take on this company, I'm like, who's paying you? Mm-hmm. Our competitors? Like, that's where I'm like, okay, now we're into the realm of, yes, essentially like gangster government. I don't like it. And we've got enough of that as is.
I was going to say, maybe rubbing off on you a little bit there.
Yeah, maybe. I've long been more like straight up, let's be a free market. Let's actually have a market that competition rules and you don't get special favors from the government. We don't live in that world. We haven't lived in that world for a while. So fine. But there are always going to be compromises at the end of the day with a political decision. I'm skeptical of that sort of sentiment, that we're going to use the government to protect you, young man.
Bust them up, man. Bust them up.
Mm-hmm. 272-9228. We'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'm Madeline Cannon. It's true, rates aren't as low as they have been for the past couple of years, but there are still many homeowners that could benefit from refinancing their current mortgage. There are a lot of things in life that are out of our control, but your mortgage rate is not one of them. If you currently have an adjustable rate mortgage, then you owe it to yourself to give us a call.
Adjustable rate mortgages make sense for some people in stable markets, but in this wild, ever-changing rate environment, it only makes sense to secure a fixed interest rate. A fixed interest rate will give you the peace of mind that your rate is locked. Your rate will not be subject to change with the political and economic tides.
At Alabama Home Mortgage, you can personalize your term. We offer 8-year to 30-year mortgages and everything in between. Grab your mortgage statement and give us a call.
Call Alabama Home Mortgage, the #1 mortgage lender in Alabama, today at 567-4223, or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Independent Glass has been your one-stop shop for all things glass since 1978. They offer a full range of architectural products, and they're armed with the knowledge and expertise to get even the most demanding job done, big or small. Attention to detail, 24-hour replacement services, and their uncompromising commitment to excellence is why Montgomery's first choice for all things glass is Independent Glass. Call them today at 263-2823 and learn more about what they can do for you at independentglassco.com.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. James and the team are ready to help you out. I'll bring it back later. He was getting intrigued by the music over there. But James Cole and the team are ready to help you out with any and all of your plumbing problems. It could be an everyday problem like clogged drain, low water pressure. Just need something, maybe new garbage disposal, something replaced. They can do quickly. Or if it's a big job, like you find a massive leak inside or outside of your home, well, Cole Plumbing has this proprietary pipelining technology that allows them with minimal discomfort to you and your home to solve the problem. Without tearing out a bunch of drywall, without digging up a huge hole in your yard, they can solve that big old problem. They understand time is of the essence when you got a big leak like that. And of course, they can also help you to upgrade, say to a tankless water heater system, or if you're looking to add new accessories to the kitchen or the bathroom, maybe say like a taller toilet if you're getting up there in age and your knees and hips are giving out. They can, of course, help you with that there at Cole Plumbing. So call them up today. Make an appointment at 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl,
call on Cole.
That's right. So the conversation continued off air. Here's where I'm coming from. There's all this talk back, remember Twitter 1.0?
Mm-hmm.
How awful they were. They're censoring people and conservative speech and all these different things. And maybe we need to carve out in the accommodation laws that allows for political affiliation where you can't discriminate on if that's going to be the regime we're operating under. Or let's remove Section 230 or have the government run the essentially set the standards for how you actually curate a site, yada, yada, yada. And I always thought those were very suboptimal because, I don't like the current Twitter management, but do I trust the United States federal government and bureaucracy to manage this better? Do I trust a new little carve out and accommodation law? No. And if you don't touch it, you know what happens? You get a ballsy billionaire by the name of Elon Musk who buys the company and changes not just Twitter into X, but changes tech and social media in general because of the standards he's setting. You don't just need the majority, you just need an alternative. And you're already seeing that today with Zuckerberg, I think, jumping on board. And some of this is, as I was telling Soldier Boy, I think there are a lot of folks. That's why I'm skeptical of the sort of the government will help me to stop certain things. I think as much as that help is sold as help, it's often a shakedown. That the government is getting their hooks into these very powerful, rich companies, not to make things fair for the little guy, but to feather their own nests.
To be clear, I was not talking about social media platforms. I was talking about things a little bit larger than them.
Sure.
I.e. Google.
I'll give
Amazon,
the general rule I have is it's better to create a better mousetrap or innovate your way out of a problem than having the government issue new restrictions. I think that is ideal. Does it always happen? Of course not. But innovating ways out of problems, innovating around certain behemoths and other problems, I think usually has better outcomes, especially in the long run, as opposed to let's do a quick fix on this particular thing.
Who's Google's largest competitor?
Oh, Google doesn't really have one.
Okay.
Well, it's going to change, though. The AI is changing the search engine world.
Right.
The AI revolution. So it, in many ways, I use now Grok on X more than I use Google. And it's quite effective at finding things. And you don't get that auto-populating of the stuff Google wants you to see.
Right, but market share, what do you think that is?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I really don't.
I'm just saying, if they were justified in breaking up Ma Bell, I think you can say that they would also be justified in breaking up Google. Because as far as market share, I think Google actually has...
If market share is the only standard, I see your point.
Competition. Right?
Yeah. It's not one-to-one even. Like Ma Bell's a unique case too.
Mm-hmm.
Because of government like last mile rules and the way regulatory things had been done for a long time. And again, I think things like AI and more innovation in the space, I would say X is now a competitor to Google and everybody else. It's not just the quick tweets or posts or whatever.
You think X is in competition with Google?
I think in the long run they are. Big time.
Wow. Okay.
There's a reason they built out that supercomputer in Memphis.
All right.
Google, though, why does Google have the advantage? Okay, first mover, or are they in bed with intelligence? I think they are.
All those data centers aren't building themselves, right?
Right. It's more like, number one, it's a conversation I'm not prepared to have. How dare you? But number two, I think it's always a little more complex than it's sold to helping the little guy.
Mm-hmm.
I see your point about it's the next wave of populism. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of awful things behemoth companies do that have, I think, unfair advantage. But I don't see the government stepping in as always to break things up as an optimal way of going about it.
I'm talking about it from a campaign sales kind of standpoint. If a candidate stood up and said, by God, we're not going to stand for this, we're going to bust these people up because corporations, even though they may quote unquote be people too, they don't have to be superhuman people.
True. It's just, I could see a Josh Hawley running on something like that. I could see J.D. Vance even doing something like that, or wise Democrats starting to sound more like John Fetterman. Maybe it's not Fetterman himself, but folks are going, oh, wait, that guy's pretty popular. And he doesn't also sound like a fire breather coastal elite either.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's you're onto something there in terms of the politics. But does it actually solve our problems?
I didn't say it would solve the problem.
Let's go to Electro Bama. Hey, Electro Bama, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Got a lot of things talking about. I don't know. I appreciate your comments about the antitrust and being a little bit more subtle about it. I like, when they have like just a general rule, or basically something that forces people to be more upfront with their information. And like Laken put through like right to repair stuff.
Yeah.
And then other states have done that, and so I like that a lot. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the scalpel approach to a lot of these things, I think, is the wisest way to go.
Yeah. Gee, I don't know. I can swing the big stick and maybe scare people a little bit. As far as not the scalpel. I got a question. Get to the important stuff. Question about yesterday. So, do you think that Trump ought to pardon the most violent people from January 6th?
When did I say that?
Do you think? I said, do you agree? Because that's what Trump said. That's what Trump says he's going to do.
The most violent. What do we mean by the most violent?
Well, what I'm saying is, whenever I talk about J6, people are like, "Oh, it was just a cakewalk."
Yeah, it was for most people.
That's true, but then there was also a spear tip of violence, which was the actual, operation which Trump was involved in.
Yeah, I wouldn't pardon people that were engaged in violent assault, if you're asking me.
Okay, that's what he intends to do, and this is my worry. Hitler became power. He had his violent people that would do stuff for him, and if Trump lets these people out, well, then hey, you got an automatically core of your paramilitary to do whatever you want. Illegal. He killed a bunch of people. Some of his opponents and stuff, and then military intelligence knew the score because he still has to hit on him, bash on him, but their job is to know things, right? So they knew the score, and you look at Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He was a theologian. He was kind of against Hitler, and the military intelligence came up to him and told him, they showed him all of the terrible things that had happened. But this is neither here nor there. This is just my preparation for the worst. Yeah, I just wanted to, so I'm glad that we have agreement on that. That's fantastic. Thanks, because that's got me scared. Blankless. Speaking of blankless, about the social media and stuff, have you heard of the word in blankification?
No.
They Google, you used to be able to go and you'd have one ad and then you'd have stuff, and nowadays it's 2 pages of ads and then what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's in blankification. That is, first off, you have these surpluses in your business, model stuff, and first it goes to your customers, then it goes to your partners, and then all the extra goes to you. So that's the process of in blankification. But anyway, as the firm gets more powerful. So, all right. Well, thanks for talking about all this.
Appreciate the call, man. 272-9228.
I only heard half of what that dude said.
Yeah, get a better connection. Do appreciate the calls, but I was having a little trouble myself there, Byron. No, and if somebody has been found to have committed violent assault, no, I wouldn't give a blanket pardon to somebody like that.
I thought I heard the caller say that Trump was involved in that, orchestrating it. So just going to let that one go.
Honestly, I've kind of forgotten about it. I'm with the 95% of Americans who really don't care about January 6th at this point. My goodness. We'll see what happens. Second hour on a Tuesday coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President-elect Trump says he won't rule out the use of military force to seize control of the Panama Canal and Greenland, as he declared U.S. control of both to be vital to American national security. A federal judge temporarily blocking the public release of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on investigations into President-elect Trump as an appeals court weighs a challenge. U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon made the ruling after an emergency request by defense lawyers to stop the Justice Department from making the report public, a step that Smith had said could come as early as Friday. The matter being considered by the Atlanta-based 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. On Wall Street, stocks are lower, the Dow dropping 3 points, the Nasdaq off 229. This is SRN News.
Making America great again starts with making America healthy again. You know, I lost over 50 pounds on the PhD weight loss and nutrition program. 3 years later, I've kept it off. You know why? Because Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team have been making America healthy for people like you and me for 10 years, because millions being spent on weight loss injections that have harmful side effects and lifelong dependency. Take a natural approach. It's not connected to a big pharma company's bottom line. You can do it with the help of PhD weight loss based on science and nutrition, a proven roadmap that has helped over 8,000 clients lose weight and keep it off. You'll learn to quiet those cravings and finally release that unhealthy belly fat. You won't be hungry. You'll never take medication. How many pounds would you like to lose in 2025, huh? PhD Weight Loss leading the charge to make America healthy again. Get started today. Schedule your consultation by calling 864-644-1900, 864-644-1900, or just visit myphdweightloss.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. This Arctic cold is going to hang on and on with a series of cold days and frigid nights. Tonight slowed down to about 24, but the wind chill factor will fall to the teens once again. Thursday and Friday, high temperatures only in the mid-40s. The coldest night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, low 22. Some risk of a rain and snow mix, perhaps. Very late Thursday night, early Friday. No accumulation expected, no travel problems in our part of the state. Friday's high temperature only 45. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. After a months-long nationwide search, Jim Grabois has been named Montgomery's permanent police chief. Mayor Stephen Reed made the announcement at a news conference Monday at City Hall. Grabois was named interim chief in July of 2024. He has served over 20 years with the Montgomery Police Department. Montgomery police have made an arrest in connection to a homicide last year. 18-year-old Bekeith Jackson has been charged with capital murder in the shooting death of 22-year-old Eldrin Wright on October 23rd. 4 others were also wounded in the shooting at the Liberty Square apartment complex near Eastern Boulevard. A shelter and warming center is open tonight to help those in need during freezing temperatures. Floyd Community Center will open its doors at 8 p.m. and remain open overnight for anyone in need of a warm place to sleep. Cots and warm blankets will be provided. The warming center is located at 3446 LeBron Road, next to the old Floyd School. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025 we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
If you get a cough, please leave.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Byron Sheehy's still here. Madeline Cannon from Alabama Home Mortgage now joining us. And real quick, Madeline, number one, how you doing?
Doing well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And I want to get into all the what's going on in the new year with Alabama Home Mortgage, but I want to talk about what's happening right now in Zelda Road here in this town.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like it's the Chevron right across from the McDonald's on Zelda Road. So we're McDonald's and Zaxby's and all that, and Captain D's, I believe, and that Chevron, the little one.
So on the
right
Ann
there.
Street side.
Yes, on the Ann Street side of Zelda. And apparently one person was blown away while another was pumping gas. Shot. From the city of Montgomery, it said right now the Montgomery Police Department is asking the public to avoid the area around the 2600 block of Zelda Road. You're seeing folks speculate on Facebook. They're now chasing the guy who was shooting at the car, one dead at the Chevron. Seems like it was a hit.
Did they give a description of the car?
No. This is happening very fluid. I'm getting most of this from people texting me and folks reacting on social media. So yeah, just if you're not down there, avoid Zelda Road. I think somebody we know who works here was down in that area when it happened.
Oh, I'm sure. That's a hot spot for lunch.
Right.
Lots of restaurants, right there.
Absolutely. So that's, well, yesterday, I believe the interim chief was named full-time chief, Chief Grayboys. We got a lot of work to do in this city, and I don't think Chief Grayboys needs to be told that, but I think everybody knows. I don't want to hear excuses, though. That's hardcore. In the middle of the day, coming out and just blowing somebody away.
Shootout at high noon, Montgomery, Alabama.
That's nuts. And you're right, Madeline. That is a highly trafficked area.
A lot of people from off base go there for lunch, too. I know last time we had lunch over there at Sushi Cafe, that area right there, and it was, full of uniforms. So that doesn't do well for our posture with the base either. Somebody called me off air asking what's going on. I'm like, this is the first I'm hearing of it. And then as I was talking to that gentleman off air during the break, I was getting more text and talking to folks across the hall there about what they're seeing. But yeah, it's that small Chevron right across from the McDonald's, next to Crystal, Captainese, all that. And it looks like a man drove up and shot another man pumping gas. And their helicopters have been deployed, I think. I mean, good God. That sort of thing, you got to take your streets back, City of Montgomery.
I mean, legitimately, we have to have this guy by the close of business today.
Yes.
You can't do this at lunch in the broad daylight with this many eyewitnesses and get away with this.
Yeah. It's awful. Anyway, welcome back to the show and welcome to Montgomery and welcome to 2025 in Montgomery. Used to live over there. Glad I don't anymore.
We're not too far from it now. We're only one exit up, right?
Right. No, I used to live in
exits up. We got
the
Perry Hill
Zelda
between us.
Point Apartments.
Man, we're not supposed to have violent crime when it's this cold. Like, people are supposed to be hunkered down indoors. I'm not even joking.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Or maybe it brings out the worst in people.
Yeah, but that's not fun at all. Let's just reset. That's all I have right now, folks. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I've already done enough just bringing out the social media stuff, but just avoid Zelda Road for the time being. Massive police presence. See if they catch the guy quick enough. You're right, Byron. They need to. But reset. Welcome to 2025, Madeline.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
We're all here.
But
for the time being.
That's right.
I was telling folks all through the Christmas holiday season, y'all need to call Kim and Madeline and get ready to hit the ground running. Now, I know there's some folks out there waiting to January 20th.
I know. And we all have high hopes. And I think that's not unwarranted, right? Like that, I think there will be positive changes with the new administration, but we've got to get them time, right?
Right.
So it's not going to happen January 21st. Rates are not going to bottom out automatically. They're going to have time to get their economic policies in place, make the changes. I think realistically, we won't start seeing big change until maybe Q4 of 25, Q1 of 26. The Federal Reserve has already said they plan on having 2 more rate drops in 25. Now, of course, those that are speaking are the leftovers from the previous administration. So things could change once Trump goes in. But from what we understand, there's not going to be a whole lot of change in the rate market between now and the end of the year. So if you guys are thinking about purchasing or refinancing, I mean, why wait at this point?
Right.
If anything, in the future, the rates can come down. We just don't know how fast. So I don't think that there's any reason to wait at this point. If you're in the market to buy something, whether you buy it now or April, I don't think that there's going to be a massive change in the rate market that would result in huge monthly savings. Let's go ahead and get started and talk through those numbers. You may be surprised.
Well, and you got to get pre-approved. I think you should do that before you even start looking at properties.
100%. Yeah. You know, oftentimes you'll go and fall in love with something, and then we talk about the numbers after the fact, and it's like, oh gosh, that's more than we really, bet on, right? So it's always good to have that conversation first before you go fall in love with a home.
Well, and maybe you kind of know my finance is good, my credit's good, but you're going to look at a place and you don't have a pre-approval certification by any means.
Yeah.
The seller's not going to take you seriously.
That's right.
They're not going to take your word for it.
That's your ticket to ride, right? They know
Right.
that you've already taken the steps necessary to secure your financing. So, if they're going to open their home up to you to look at and, sit down at the table and negotiate, they want to make sure that you've already got your ducks in a row too.
Well, in a refinance deal, it's not like when somebody calls y'all up, it's like, this day you must come. No, it's more like, here's what I'm trying to do. I got this debt load. I've got this much built up in the house. And really, it's a matter of, let y'all understand the goals of the people refinancing and sort of follow the number. Like, what's the best possible deal for you going on? And to where somebody can sort of get prepared and then pull the trigger when the time is right.
That's right. And not all refinancing is to eliminate debt.
Right.
A lot of people, they have goals and objectives, whether that's, I plan on retiring in the next 10 years and I want to have this house paid for. I'm on a 30-year mortgage right now. Can we take a look at, dropping that term down to a 15 or a 10 so that this house will be paid for when I retire? Or I've got, kids that are in high school that'll be starting college here soon. And I know that comes with, a big price tag. Could we possibly tap into some of our equity so we can pay cash and our kids don't have to have student loans? I mean, there's so many different, goals and objectives that you can achieve through refinancing your home.
Maybe it's a big family vacation. I mean, it can get into crazy territory too.
Yeah,
right?
But
it is your money.
I would recommend that,
Right.
but yes.
I've been
yes,
listening to this guy, Michael Saylor. He says that I need to just take out like a bunch out of my home and buy a bunch of Bitcoin. I mean, again, it's folks' money they built up in their home, but you're more looking at, okay, if that's your goal, maybe you're looking to help the kids go into college, maybe you're looking to reinvest.
Mm-hmm.
These are the folks you need to talk to.
That's right.
I mean, well, how are you seeing what's going on in the, say, river region market right now? I know y'all serve beyond Alabama even right now, too.
That's right.
But-
We're licensed in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida. I would say as a whole, nationwide, the biggest issue coupled with the interest rates have been inventory problems. So there's not a whole lot of inventory. A lot of people who are ready to buy and there's nothing to buy, right? A lot of people are holding on to their existing homes because they're not ready to part with that low interest rate they got in 2020, 2021. And we can understand that and appreciate that. But I think that as spring comes and there's more people listing their homes, existing homes, not just new construction, we'll start to see a lot more movement.
Now, are y'all still helping out veterans?
Of course. Yes, we do VA loans all day, every day. So as certified veteran lending specialists, we specialize in working with our veterans to use their benefits that they've rightfully earned.
Now, what if somebody just needs like they say their home's paid off. They've had it for a while, but they're like, I don't know what this is worth.
Yeah.
Can y'all do appraisals, stuff like that?
Yeah, so if they were interested in, they've got a home that's paid for, they're interested in looking at cashing out some of the equity they have in their home, then absolutely we could look at doing a cash out refinance, and at that time we would do an appraisal. So unless you're a veteran, veterans are unique in that if your home is paid for, the VA will not allow you to do a cash out refi. Isn't that crazy? If you owe $1 on your house, you can, but if it's free and clear, there's no liens against your property. The VA actually will not do a cash out refinance on a home that's free and clear. But on FHA and conventional, you can go up to 80% loan to value on a cash out. So let's just say for easy math, your home's worth $100,000, it's paid for, you could borrow up to $80,000.
Wow. Now, if somebody is like ready to go, they're not waiting, but they're like, I want to refinance right now. Like, what's kind of the turnaround time if folks are thinking that through?
Yeah, so our average turn time is 15 business days. So
wow.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And that's because, I mean, you're working hard making that happen.
Time is money. And all we do is mortgages all day long. We're a mortgage company.
Okay.
So we're not a bank. We're not a credit union. I'm not opening bank, checking savings accounts, doing auto loans. We do mortgages all day long. So we really have streamlined the process to make it faster and cheaper for you.
So again, folks, y'all have this. You should have it memorized by now. 567-4223 is the number there for Alabama Home Mortgage. 567-4223. Just start the conversation is the way I would put it. With Madeline here, with Kim Williams. And, of course, people can apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com if you want to do it that way. I'd imagine it's a younger clientele that does the
You'd be
online.
surprised. We
Really?
actually have, all age ranges that apply online. Maybe people that are a little phone shy, they don't want to call. But yes, you can apply online, and sometimes the questions can kind of throw people for a loop, and they feel like, oh gosh, I don't want to answer the wrong way. There's no wrong answers. And as soon as we get that application, we give you a call. So don't fear doing the application online. We'll make sure that everything's done correctly.
And again, that's at myalabamahomemortgage.com. And there is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Madeline and Kim there prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Byron Sheehy and I were talking a little earlier, Madeline. Doesn't this feel like the longest transition ever? Like, can't Trump just be sworn in today?
I felt that way on election night.
It does seem like this is, who knows what the Biden administration is going to do next. Maybe they'll do something cool. I don't know. But
he did do one thing that was not completely asinine. He blocked the sale of U.S. steel to the foreign company.
Nippon Steel. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he did that.
Broken clock.
I was about to say that it's right at least twice a day, right?
But, I've got all this stuff prepared, but I'm unnerved by what just happened on Zelda Road.
I know.
You're safe here, buddy.
Yeah. Well, and that does come across as if somebody just fired out of a car or just shot somebody in particular. Okay. This is something that needs to be done and taken care of very quickly.
I mean, that can't be a random act of violence.
No.
I mean,
we don't have gangs in Montgomery. What are you talking about?
Well, and it's in broad daylight, just in front of God and everybody. A lot of people there. It shows they ain't scared at all of anything.
Have you tried to get out? I mean, this is going to sound like a joke. It's not. Have you tried to get out of that gas station?
Yeah, I don't go there.
It is so hard with traffic coming from both directions. Like, where did this guy flee to?
Right. Well, I know the city and the police are aware of it. There's a huge police presence, and when we get something update, maybe they catch the guy quickly, we'll let you know, folks. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Again, congrats to Chief Grayboys for being named full-time chief, but you got a lot on your plate, sir. A lot of rebuilding and rebuilding that deterrence on our own streets. We need it pronto. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. How about this? Let's hit a break. We'll reset. We'll come back.
You may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
What'll it be, Joe?
Coffee and apple pie. Whoa, Madge, what was that?
The lights? Oh, they always dim when the dishwasher turns on.
You should call Crosby Electric.
You think?
Overloaded circuits at your business can be dangerous. The experts at Crosby Electric can upgrade your electrical service to safely handle the load, and they can add receptacles where needed to eliminate overuse of extension cords.
Madge, I'd like to pay you. The problem is it's so dark in here I can't read my bill.
No, the problem is you're cheap.
Well, that's a problem too.
Effective, attractive lighting is essential for any business. Crosby Electric can help with a new lighting scheme that will give your business a fresh, exciting look, and they can recommend outdoor lighting for greater safety and security.
That'll be $4.50 for the coffee and pie, Joe.
Well, don't I get anything for recommending Crosby Electric?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Don't put off essential electrical upgrades for your business. Call 272-2085 or visit crosbyelectric.com.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back into News and Views in the afternoon. I have a pretty good source that they got the people involved. They got them. Good. Good. Good work to do that very quickly.
Over under on how old the kid was.
Oh, you think it's a juvenile?
Over under on how old the kid was.
18.
I was going to say 19.
Yeah. No, and that's the most unnerving part. It's I've said it over and over again on these airwaves. The vast majority of people in this city, like let's say 99% of the people in the city, maybe they don't do right in every aspect of life, but generally speaking, they just want to hang out, chill, or maybe they want to run their business. Like most folks are doing things that generally help the community. Mm-hmm. But it's a small number that just has no home training, to put it mildly. And like that's what's astounding is when you see these numbers, and by numbers I mean the age of these people, and it's over and over again. Occasionally it'll be like a 30-year-old, occasionally but most of the time it's a teenager. And I don't know how you even begin to solve that. But for the life of me, I'm like, how do you not know who these folks are? If you're running a police department, how do you not know who is actually doing this stuff? I'd imagine, I'm not saying you have to do pre-crime or arrest people before they do things. I'm saying know your city, command your streets.
Dumb question. Could a high school system not just send over a list to the police, midday, like, here are the students who should have been in that weren't in today?
Oh, truants, yeah.
So if any of these guys are some of your usual suspects, you may want to be on the lookout because they're not accounted for today.
All right. Man. No, there's a lot can be done, and I'm not somebody who you don't want me as chief of police.
Maybe we do.
No,
it's not a bad idea, Byron.
No, you don't. Guys, I've been saying this forever. I've had people ask me, Joey, run for office. I'm like, you do not want me with power. I will abuse it. I will. This is why I'm so critical of the people up there. I know what you're up to.
Do it for good.
Yeah, sure. Right. But good to know they got them. So, again, welcome to Montgomery in 2025. Like I was just saying, I thought the whole, crime suppression, working with state, county, city all together was working fairly well. And actually, I think it has shown some good results, but not enough. Not enough. Now, I want to jump into just completely different territory here. This made me sad, actually. It's from campusreform.org. Almost half of college students don't want DEI forced on them in higher ed, which the headline's yeah. Wait, almost half? 46% of students oppose mandatory DEI. That means 54% of America's college students support mandatory DEI. what are these little Maoists that, like, what did y'all do? What's in the water? Is it the fluoride? I don't know what it is.
Condition, man.
But a study has revealed that a large proportion of students oppose DEI. This is just the wrong framing campus reform. But the study was published by College Rover on November the 6th, surveyed 1,000 American college students exploring whether DEI programs build bridges or inadvertently widen divides, and found that 2 in 5 students have taken a class that focused on race, gender, or identity, and 54% believe these classes should be mandatory for all students. Okay, I did poli-sci at Auburn. I took some of these comparative politics classes, race and politics and gender and politics, and I thought it was a waste of time and money. I would never be like, yeah, let's make this mandatory.
Yeah. Well, they've made like social sciences, like sociology and stuff, mandatory.
That's a good point.
Really?
And, yeah. In state schools, I know for sure.
It is annoying because I was able to AP out of a lot of history and English stuff, but no, like when you're a I thought like, okay, I'm a freshman at Auburn. It's time to like hit the ground running. You can kind of craft your own program based on what you want to pursue. It's like, nope. Here's all these mandatory things so you're a well-rounded person. Mm-hmm. Good luck in astronomy class or whatever you chose.
Yeah, they've got it now where it's not until like your second semester of sophomore year that you can even take anything that has to do with your field of study.
Right, which is nuts.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah, and there are new things popping up to where it's like some of my favorite are the ones where it's apprenticeships, where you're an intern, like getting paid as an intern on a particular job, and then at night you're doing your own crafted with professionals classical liberal arts study. So you're getting like practical training in a job and something you're interested in. And even if you go into different fields, you now know how to work in an office and run certain things. And then you're also getting essentially the Western canon taught to you, history, literature, all sorts of stuff. So I think that's a better approach. But yeah, is college now it's the experience, like you go to just go? I guess there are certain fields where I would say I would send my kid to Auburn if they wanted to be a pharmacist or a nurse or an aerospace engineer or industrial design or architect or engineering and there's a lot of great, I'm not forestry, I'm not knocking Auburn. Like there's a lot of great departments, but there's a lot of stuff that also goes on in that campus. Again, I love Auburn. I'm very proud of having gone there, but there's a lot of stuff that just is a waste of money. And it's like, who figured this scam out?
Well, everything you just named all has a clear like career at the end of it. It's the ones that don't that are spending $50,000 a year and have no rate of return. Because
like philosophy.
Sure. I mean, unless you're
going to go
like
to law school. Poli-sci and English?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have a degree in English with a minor in poli-sci and religion. So I hear you. I am the epitome of liberal arts education, but I also went on to get a law degree and I worked the whole time I was in school. So I had other, avenues, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Unless you know what you're going to do on the other side of it. If you're coming out of, especially like a private college with over, 6 figures, let's just assume you have no student aid or you don't have any scholarships. You come out with 6 figures worth of debt, and the average salary for your English degree is $35,000. I mean, you're going to be paying those student loans until you draw your last breath.
What comedian was it that was? He made the joke. Basically, a student loan is an investment in a small business, and you're that small business.
Yeah.
If we framed it that way, how many student loans do you think would actually be either given or, taken from the students?
If the government would get out of student loans, we would be in much better shape. 100%. It was not until the government got involved that the higher education had a blank check. They could put whatever price tag they wanted on it. They knew the government was going to pay it. And that's who we need to be looking at, is not forgiving all the student debt from the past, but looking at in the future, maybe the government ought to get out of student loans.
And then when it's one thing if you like really are I'm just liberal at heart. And I just want to study these things. I've been fascinated by gender fluid and like transgender. Like there are people like that. You're just genuinely fascinated. Like God love you, go study it if you're paying for it, or you can get a loan for it. Good for you. But what's happening is this DEI stuff is now creeping into the physics department, to the engineering department, to all these other things where it's like, yeah, you can be an engineer, but first you got to take our little Maoist indoctrination courses. It's like, what, and which is right out of the communist, especially communist China handbook. Like, yeah, you can be free market and be whatever you want, but there's always going to be that commissar. There's always going to be that person there for the party's sake, pushing, how to be a good citizen. And it's just disappointing. And I'm disappointed in campus reform for, again, they framed it as almost half of college students don't want DEI. So that means the majority do want DEI classes mandatory.
Wait, where did this study come from?
College Rover.
But did it say what universities they sampled?
No.
What region or anything?
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's just more fake news. I don't know. I suspect even in places like Alabama, they got rid of DEI and stuff. Yeah, okay, they got rid of it, and they probably just rebranded a lot of these people's jobs. So, it's a big problem to continue to push on. Let's go to line 1 real quick. You're on there? Who's this?
Hey, Joey, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris.
I hate that, we have to, kids go into school, get into debt, and have to pay for that garbage anyways.
Yeah.
But anyways, I sent you an article about Joe Biden. He's thinking about banning cigarettes.
Damn it! I knew something. I'm not even a smoker of cigarettes.
Yeah, alcohol causes cancer, and he's going to ban cigarettes. And this guy, and he'll let out 11 terrorists out of Gitmo and send them back to Oman or Yemeni or wherever. I don't know where he brought them to, but. The guy's a complete loon. And on top of this stuff going on here in Montgomery, all this stuff going on comes back to one thing. And now the family structure, of course. But the second one is the failure of the education system in the city.
Yeah.
And around the country. The sad part is where the kids need the education and the help the most, it's the worst place to go. And, it's really like a work release camp. You go to school and they release you back into society, and you're not any reformed or any better than you were when you walked in it. Maybe worse.
Well, and often it's like this idea of also lowering standards or understanding people's circumstances, all this stuff. It's like, no, I think somebody who has had a rough go of it and through no fault of their own, they need higher standards.
They always want to play to the lowest denominator.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's the most racist garbage I've ever heard uttered out of a liberal. Lower the standards because, they're poor or they're a minority or something like that. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah, like they're inherently unable to understand the material.
That's exactly right. It's pathetic. It's really sad. And, and then some guy goes and assassinates a guy on Zelda Road. Probably had a broken home, probably maybe failed out of school, been in trouble with the law his whole life, and this was the ultimate end for him, is to assassinate somebody on Zelda Road, and then you, the taxpayer, will now take care of that guy for the rest of his life.
It's a crying shame.
Pretty crappy system, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, as we got folks
to laugh at it.
Well, it's better to laugh than cry, but it really is like one problem leads into the next. And again, so much of this, I think, can be solved with a carrot and a stick in certain ways. Yep. But right now it's more folks making excuses. And in fact, because we're not doing so well, give us more money and it will make it all of a sudden better, which is
nonsense. I want to make a suggestion. Anybody that knows Elon Musk or Vivek or even Trump, I want to take Montgomery, the city of Montgomery. I want Doge. I want Doge in the city finance. I want Doge in the NPS downtown. I want Doge the hell out of this town. I want to see where all that money that's been wasted is going. Now, Stephen Reed wants $6 million more for his little pet program to help rehabilitate kids or whatever. It's not even proven to even do anything.
Well, if we could do it privately, we could get somebody to invest in like a Doge like light, like how the bat signal is sent out, like get the Doge signal and be like, Elon, please, you're our only hope. Sorry for mixing movie references.
That's exactly right. That's a great idea. Yeah, bat signal. Oh, look, my city's falling apart.
Honey, why is there a Shiba Inu in the sky?
It's like pouring water in a bucket with holes in the bottom of it. I mean, you just keep giving them money, keep giving them money, keep giving them money. It doesn't matter how much money you give them. If the leadership is not the right people, then they're never going to spend the money in the right way.
No, and just think this: NPS has received more money than it ever has. Think about this: $200 million from the COVID relief. Then on top of that, they and then I think it came in arrears, but they ended up getting our tax dollars off of our home. Right?
Yeah.
And then, so you add that, I mean, the money flowing into that system is just unbelievable. Plus, it's one that it employs probably a good majority of people here in the city of Montgomery.
How is it that the private schools who spend less per capita turn out the students they do, but the public school system who spends more per student turns out the students they do?
He said it's about the money flowing in, but we didn't talk about the money flowing out also.
Yeah, and it is, and it's not just standards that a school board or the state government.
You also have family involvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. And it doesn't matter how much money you make, the higher percentage of money that you and time you commit to your child's education, the better they will do. And often it's not like you got to spend a lot of money, but you need to sort of be on top of it. When the kid comes home, are you asking about him? Are you really pushing it?
As a parent, I can tell you right now, it's difficult.
It is.
It's a lot of work. And when you have parents working, you're exhausted. You don't want to deal with it. But you got to do it. You got to do it.
Well, and I genuinely believe the vast majority of people in the city are trying to make the right choices. And what happens is a tiny minority gets a veto on all the good stuff that we might do. And it's got to stop.
They ruin it. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's leadership and all that other stuff. Y'all talk about all the show all the time, but it's kind of I think it's a kind of a come to Jesus moment for Montgomery. I mean, I dare know how much we spent on the consultant to try to find the chief of police we already had. Can someone tell me that?
Good question.
Hopefully soon.
Hey, you're the gentleman with you. What's his name?
Byron. Can you do a story about that? Can you dig in and find out?
I'll do my best, sir.
All the consultants we paid for in this city. Where's that money going?
I got a few pet projects. I'm going to try to see where a lot of government contracts are leading. So stay tuned.
See, you're mini Doge.
Well, but did you see that there's new investment being made in the Riverfront Greenway Trail to drive socioeconomic growth and regional connectivity?
What does that consist of?
This is more.
I don't know what to think about that sometimes.
Greenway.
I don't think it's an awful idea, but sometimes I think the amount of economic growth is overstated.
All right, let me tell you that. A Performa and this is what it'll do. I'm sorry. You can use every mathematical equation you want to. You cannot. There's really no way to really know exactly what a trail's going to do for you. Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, what they're saying is look at the amount of tourism, look at the amount of folks now actually participating in stuff downtown, and they're just expanding it. Not the worst idea.
But if people are scared to go anywhere downtown,
yeah, well,
you've got to mitigate the crime so people will want to participate.
I would give a plug. Have you been to Jerry's Jeep Joint?
Yeah,
I have not, but I know what you're talking about.
It's that right there is the most beautiful, well done building I've seen downtown. It is very nice, and it's a great place.
It is.
Good place to play. I mean, I don't want to see stuff like that disappear. That's important for a community, stuff like that. So, and put all that money and hard work into it. You know who it is, but and then, we got to help folks out like that. I mean, that's what we want, stuff like that downtown.
Well, we'll see.
But we can't spend billions of dollars to finance it as taxpayers. So.
Well, I appreciate the call as always, Chris.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Y'all have a good one.
272-9228.
Y'all want to take a stab at what the University of Alabama renamed its DEI program?
What?
Division of Opportunities, Connections, and Success.
They're not going to change a thing they do.
And they went on to say that the lady who was in charge of DEI is now in charge of this new.
Right. This is what I mean. It's just rebranding.
Lobbyist, business consultant, it's potato, man.
Now I'm just looking at this Riverfront Greenway Trail. They're expanding it essentially. Expanding it northward. It's already been connecting Maxwell Air Force Base Visitor Center to Riverfront Park, and now a $2.4 million extension northward.
Did either of y'all go ice skating down at the water park?
No.
Okay.
How about this? Let's hit a very quick break. We'll come back to all these calls. 272-9228.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the river region. Call us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For more information, send an email to digital@BlueWaterBroadcasting.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. This Arctic cold is going to hang on and on with a series of cold days and frigid nights. Tonight slowed down to about 24, but the wind chill factor will fall to the teens once again. Thursday and Friday, high temperatures only in the mid-40s. The coldest night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, low 22. Some risk of a rain and snow mix, perhaps. Very late Thursday night, early Friday. No accumulation expected. No travel problems in our part of the state. Friday's high temperature only 45. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. This part of the program brought to you by Sweet Creek Farm Market. Folks, you got to get out there and see Reed Ingram at Sweet Creek Farm Market. He's built up a beautiful establishment there. Stop by their award-winning cafe for lunch or just a warm beverage, coffee, maybe some cocoa. Let the kids play around, especially moms, if you're looking for a place where the kids can play, you can do a little shopping too, and just kind of relax, that's Sweet Creek Farm Market. It really is a beautiful, family-friendly establishment. And of course, when I say shopping, it's not just a cafe. They're always bringing fresh produce, baked goods. You can do a lot of your grocery shopping there, like Alabama, like milk, everything like produced here in Alabama. Meat, I get meat there sometimes. And of course, those baked goods, you're talking big old like cookies, like hubcap size, massive.
And they've got that really nice coffee shop too.
Yeah. The coffee shop is awesome. And of course, they have those hard to find gifts or like just certain goods where you're like, where am I going to get it? Sweet Creek probably has it.
Rhubarb jelly.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's stuff like that where you're like, I remember that as a kid where I can get Sweet Creek probably has it. And of course, you can always check them out on Facebook to see the latest of what they have going on. If you stop by today and find Reed Ingram, give him a belated happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday. Or you can find Reed or Karen Ingram and tell the staff there that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. I swear, you're not going to go wrong going to Sweet Creek. They got it going on. Beautiful establishment. And good to have them on as a sponsor. Well, I had all these calls, and then y'all see what happened.
They all hang up.
Yeah, well, some were like, well, not everybody who comes from a broken home does bad things. I'm like, I agree.
Yeah, nobody said that.
I agree. It's just not ideal. We'll put it that way. Yeah, maybe you do have a two-parent household and both parents are like gangsters or something. I don't know. Both parents are in the mob. It's like, well, that's not ideal. How did the Sopranos kids do? I don't know. But let's go to Papa B. Hey, Papa B, how you doing?
Doing great. Byron, good to hear from you, bud.
How are you, sir?
Doing well. You know, Karen and Reed, I mean, they don't really particularly know me. I've met them a few times, you know, at Sweet Creek. But I'm telling you, you won't meet two finer people. True community servants. Part of, I think, what they do down there is employ some kids that, you know, they really, you know, are trying to help.
Yeah, I think they're still looking for a new barista.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, great place to work if you got a teenager, especially.
I don't qualify there, but
oh, we know.
Their swamp cookies are to die for, though. I love them.
Very good.
Every time I go in there, I get me a big old swamp cookie. But anyway, just, you know, real briefly about, you know, the various city projects and, you know, there's things that government is good at or supposed to do, and maybe you'd say it's the least onerous option. And, you know, putting good elements into communities is a good thing. Weed and feed is what I call it, you know, get bad stuff out and get good stuff in. The only problem is you can't get the cart before the horse. You got to get the bad stuff out, and that's the weed part. And sometimes I mean that literally. You got to get the bad stuff out before you can get good stuff even working. But I just admonish anybody looking to do that to think about that too. I called because I've read a couple of stories here that y'all probably are aware of. Recently, there was apparently another young man that died in prison. Up at Dayton, I believe, I know the stories of Daniel Williams. I believe he was in Staten, and Jamal Wilson. And their stories are similar. Daniel was in 2023, I believe, and he was tied up, drugged, and raped repeatedly to death over 3 days. Jamal, similar story, you know, just pure evil.
Yes.
And I mean, these kids are like, you know, just barely 20s, you know, 21, 22 years old. I mean, yeah, they made a mistake that they deserve to be raped to death for it. I don't think so. Nor did they deserve to be ignored during that time for 3 days. You kidding me? You trying to tell me that nobody knew? The guards didn't even take note of it? I mean, they're tied up, you know. So anyway, I mean, our problem in this country, you know, is we point at the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
and not the disease. You know, we say, oh, kids need to be raised by parents and all this stuff that, you know, we say, yeah, it needs to happen. But our problem stems from a spiritual point of view. And until we get that right, we're not ever going to get anything else right. Now, I mean, I'm not a Bible scholar. I know the Bible. But if I want to, you know, actually quote from the Bible, most of the time I have to kind of look it up. And so the verse that kind of came to mind is Matthew 18:18. And I'm going to paraphrase, so for you people that are particular about the wording, this is a Papa B translation. Jesus said, in paraphrase, truly I say unto you, whatsoever things you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatsoever things you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. We have, as a nation, loosed pure evil. And I'm telling you, say, well, it's just a little bit here and a little bit there, but you know what? Once a demonic spirit is loosed, you can't stop it, man. It's going all the way. You can't just have a little bit of it. And so, you know, Papa B's solution to anything like that is how I spell relief is REPENT. This nation has got to repent of its sins.
Amen.
At the deepest level. And I'm telling you, you know, this idea of sodomy is a very, 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 very bad idea, but it has been tolerated by so many people, and it has got to be confronted and tended to and dealt with. Because I'm telling you what, if Papa B was at that prison, knowing that was going on, I probably would go to prison myself because I'd drag those suckers out to the yard and put them on the spot. There wouldn't be a trial. Or, you know, I'd say, hey, how do you plead? Not guilty. Yeah, I knew you'd say that. Kind of a Judge Dredd moment. And go ahead and deal with it. It's got to be addressed. But anyway, I'm sure I'm just bloviating now, but I'd like to appreciate you for letting me come on the air and talk about it, get my soapbox together, and I'll pack it up for tomorrow, okay?
Beautiful. Appreciate it, Papa B.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys.
Yeah, that's heinous. And I've said before, the prisons in this state, some of them, it's hell. Hell. Like, I'm not like, oh, give them hell. I mean, it's hell on earth.
So,
some of these places.
So who does this fall on, man? Who does this burden fall on? Is this Ivy?
I think whoever's in charge right now, yes, it falls on your head as a responsibility. The actual origins of the problem, I would say 3-4 decades of not
but
really looking at this.
The buck's got to stop somewhere, right?
Yes, whether it's Ivy or whoever's elected next. But right now, it's the governor and it's leaders in the legislature and a lot of the folks who could change things. It's your responsibility now.
Who's the head of corrections?
I do not know off the top of my head. DOC.
Yeah, there's plenty of laws on the book, though. It's just a matter of enforcing it, right? I mean, they have the Prison Rape Enforcement Act.
It's a matter of caring.
Right.
Yeah. 272-9228. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
John Q. Ham.
Hey, it's Cranky.
Hey, Cranky.
Hey, just calling in from the street. What I hope is only Montgomery's first robbery homicide just occurred about an hour ago, Chevron over on Zelda Road.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about it at the top of the hour.
Both subjects in custody. However, the lily-livered judges in Montgomery, if these guys do get a conviction, the lily-livered judges in Montgomery, they're not going to see much jail time. That's the whole damn problem. They undercut the police, so there's not police out on the street. In the unlikely event they do get in jail, when they go to trial, the lily-livered judges down there, and some of them down there I've known a long time, I'm very disappointed in them. And I won't mention James Anderson by name, but I just, and then they do get in jail, then DOC has got no choice but to cut them loose because of the sentencing reform. So, they know ultimately nothing's going to happen to them. So, I mean, if you live in Montgomery, this is as good as it's going to get. It isn't going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. And I'm sorry I came in on the tail end of that last conversation, The legislature and the governor and her staff should be ashamed of themselves for letting DOC continue to just spiral downward. Same with DHR and Nancy Buckner, that Nazi over there. Those two agencies, right here in the middle of the Bible Belt, everybody goes to church on Sunday and says Jesus the right way, and they just look the other way while DHR and DOC do what they do so well. I am absolutely disappointed that Joe Biden did not get an investigation, DOJ, to investigate Alabama DOC, because they've been in trouble before. They were under conservatorship and under consent decree before. And I just knew. Look, I'm not a Democrat. I absolutely despise the party, but I just knew one good thing that Biden might do is get them to come in here and clean DOJ up. And that's not going to happen. And it needs to happen. And those in the mid-level that have looked the other way, they know they need to go spend time in their own damn prison like Mike Hubbard did. I mean, this just pisses me off to the highest level of festivity. Just makes me sick. I just,
I hear you. Well, and you touch on the side, folks often look at what are we doing with our police department, but even when the police catch the guys, they're back out on the streets, and even if you really do convict somebody for a heinous crime, like, okay, are we making things better by throwing them in the prisons as they currently exist? And something's got to be done very quickly.
Well,
and
it depends on what the crime is.
Sure.
You know, some of them do belong in prison. But, you know, somebody beats a baby to death and they get a $75,000 bond, but you got a bag of cocaine. Well, I had a $2 million bond. Something wrong with all that down there. But, you know, they ain't going to fix it. They don't want to fix it. If they wanted to fix it, it'd be fixed. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm not the one that's got to live with it. I just got to live with these thugs that are out on the street that, you know, they've turned loose on us. And, oh, no, we don't have enough of our own. We got to have the Biden administration to fly in a bunch of them because ours aren't enough. We need to bring more of them in. But other than that, it's been a damn great new year.
Yeah, did you see the story at 1819? Illegal alien arrested for attempted kidnapping a young girl in Elmore County was deported 5 times previously.
Yes, sir. I did see that.
Good.
I did see that.
Well, I got to hit this top of the hour. Always good for hearing from
you. Happy New Year. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, and Byron, you can attest to this. I was very happy when we began the show today. And then as soon as you walk in, Madeline.
Oh, I brought the gloom and doom, huh?
No, but it's not your fault. I'm just saying as soon as you walked in, it's like we got shootings on Zelda and everybody wants to talk about prison rape and all sorts of, like, good God.
Maybe I need to leave.
Don't leave.
Take me with you.
Okay.
Y'all don't leave me here. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Former President Jimmy Carter has arrived at Joint Base Andrews. Mr. Carter, who died late last month at age 100, will lie in state in the rotunda of the Capitol. Members of the public can pay their respects at viewings tonight and for a 24-hour period beginning tomorrow morning. On Thursday, Jimmy Carter's funeral will be held at Washington's National Cathedral. That's before a private burial in Georgia. A rare labor strike that began over the busy holidays and carried on into the new year has put a wrench in operations at the biggest U.S. ski resort. Utah's Park City Mountain Resort closed lifts and runs. More than 200 union ski patrollers went on strike December 27th. The Dow dropping 49 points, the NASDAQ 291 in the red. This is SRN News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-353-9057. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-353-9057. 800-353-9057 or biglou.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. This Arctic cold is going to hang on with a series of cold days and frigid nights. Tonight slowed down to about 24, but the wind chill factor will fall to the teens once again. Thursday and Friday, high temperatures only in the mid-40s. The coldest night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, low 22. Some risk of a rain and snow mix, perhaps. Very late Thursday night, early Friday. No accumulation expected, no travel problems in our part of the state. Friday's high temperature only 45. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At CB&S Bank, we've been meeting the needs of our customers since 1906. Need help setting up new business goals? Our line of commercial loans can help you achieve them. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
1819 News.
A state lawmaker up for re-election in 2026 says he will be running for another term. Steve Klaus says he's received encouragement to stay in state politics from his constituents and fellow lawmakers. Klaus told 1819 News that a few years ago he was planning to not run again, but has changed that plan in order to continue being effective for the constituents of Dale and Houston County in the Wiregrass region. Klaus says that the state finances and budget will be the biggest priority in the 2025 legislative session. Klaus believes that ever since COVID and federal stimulus money was sent to all the states, Alabama has not really focused on correcting its financial matters. The state legislative session begins officially on February 4th. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
The library board at Spanish Fort met this past Monday night and decided to revisit policies surrounding a graphic novel that has sexually explicit material targeting teens. This book has already been removed from the shelves in other public libraries in South Alabama after formal complaints were filed against the book. A formal complaint has not been filed in Spanish Fort. However, it was removed from the shelf last month for review. The chairman of the board, Robert Curtis Smith Jr., said he was shocked when he read the book and would not even dare to put those illustrations on a screen for the general public. Smith Jr. is encouraging that the book be relocated to the adult section. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time. Experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sash. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. DavisDoorandSashAlabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home. The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. I almost feel like I can't play this new intro when the news is so bad sometimes, though. Like, it seems too happy to be played when it's like, anyway, another shooting today. That shouldn't be allowed. But welcome back into the program. Now, just as a follow-up, because you were asking about this, Madeline, that there was more to the story. The illegal alien arrested for attempting to kidnapping the young girl in Elmore County had been deported 5 times previously. Caleb Taylor at 1819 News did this write-up, and Elmore County Sheriff's deputies arrested Yordi Centeno Melchor. Bill Franklin, the sheriff there in Elmore, told Elmore Talking News that around 5:40 p.m. on December 31st in the parking lot of the Boys Store in Holtville, a 17-year-old female was attempting to move a buggy and was approached by a Hispanic man later identified as the 31-year-old Centeno Melchor, or however you say that, who told investigators he lives in a trailer in Wetumpka. Franklin told the outlet he told her to get into the vehicle. The illegal alien then fled the parking lot without the girl after a passerby noticed the girl looking confused and walked over to her. Sheriff Franklin told the outlet Clanton police officers on Friday located the illegal alien's vehicle, stopped it, and detained him. We were able to determine it was, in fact, a black Mitsubishi and displayed a Texas tag. We ran that tag and put out a be on the lookout. Our investigative division worked with patrol and put the bolo out across the river region. Elmore County then contacted Immigration and Customs Enforcement and learned that this guy had been deported 5 times, but had continued to cross back into the United States illegally.
Where is he from? Does it say?
Doesn't say. The Sheriff Franklin quote says, we are not aware of the reasoning for ICE deporting him each time, but we are trying to learn that from ICE. We are working on that now. I mean, how much you want to bet this guy had been deported for those reasons?
The article I'm seeing says he's a Mexican national.
Mexican national, okay. Yeah, you got to wonder what's he been deported for. Because it's not like they're deporting everybody. I'd imagine he did a thing. And
well, it sounds like he was trying to sex traffic that young girl.
Yes.
So thank the Lord that somebody intervened.
Indeed. I mean, it keeps happening. Over and over again.
And in Holtville, right?
Right.
Like a place you would think is safe and, it's not a big metro area.
Well, and there's one story I don't have all off the top of my head. I wish I did, that Craig Monger wrote up where it was awful, like killing of a bunch of people, dismemberment and stuff. And the trial is still being delayed. And this is the point that Cranky's brought up. It's like, okay, we get the guy, we arrest the guy, and then it takes 2-3 years, if that, to actually bring him to justice. And then where are you going to put him? In Alabama. And there's part of me that's like, hey, if you kill somebody in my jurisdiction, I'm not deporting you. I'm putting you under the jail. Well, that's not allowed, I know. But there's part of me that's like, no, don't deport murderers. You lock them up for a very, very long time, if not the rest of their lives.
You can put those in the part of the jail that doesn't have good lighting.
Like the whole jail?
Any jail.
But they sure will prosecute Trump 800 times.
Yeah, well, that gets
before they get to that one, yeah.
And the political donations. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Charles Persadini.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are y'all doing? I say hello to your other persons there because I can't just think of their names.
Madeline and Byron.
Hello, y'all.
Hello.
I was calling about the the prison situation. You kind of get back on it if you don't care. Remember, I was the press secretary for Stacey George running for office for the governorship the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And my main focus on that, as far as personally trying to help a situation, was the closing of the mental health facilities by Riley right before Bentley went into office. And they didn't even tell the families, y'all. They put these people out on the streets, and a lot of them didn't have anywhere to go. Now, these were not just persons that had some type of slight challenge. They were mentally ordered, doctored care to be in these facilities with constant care. Are you following me?
Yes.
They couldn't get jobs. They couldn't do anything, and they were just put out. So in order to survive, they went to people's barns and went to sleep. They went to Walmart and stole stuff to eat, and this put them in the sheriff's department. Now, from that point, the sheriff's department didn't know what to do with them. Couldn't really keep them in with the other people. Didn't have it. None of them even had any means, even if they had a low bond, to bond out. So they actually began to put them all in like a crazy area that they would, randomly call it, of the jail. Now, eventually, they would go to court. Now, instead of being let out beside the mental health facility, they would now be let out right near the jail. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
3 times of still trying to survive, and that's enough for the judge, unless you had a good judge that saw what was going on and helped you in some kind of way. You went into the prison system. Well, in the prison system, they were used to run drugs, they were raped, they were harmed, and for their own benefit, not because they did anything, they were put in isolation, isolated cells, where for some of them went for years without seeing a person, without a light or a Bible, or unable to even tell anybody anything was going on. Are you following me?
Yes.
Well, I kept on and on about it on the radios with articles I could write. You should go on. I'm on Quora with History of Horrors, Alabama Prisons, okay?
Okay.
Now, we went from Dunn, who was in charge, to Mr. Ham. And, y'all, they filmed a documentary that has me and Stacy and all kinds of things in it that someday will be seen. They allowed us to go, speak to everybody, talk to everybody that we could to do anything. And as far as the mental health, Mr. Ham eventually did allocate outside sources to go in just to check on the persons that were, from mental health now in the prison system. Got me?
Yes.
So that was a good thing, but I had to get on and say, look, as Christians, we should not be allowing a travesty of this nature to be occurring in our midst of our community. And how am I wrong, y'all?
You're not wrong. From a Christian basis, you're certainly not wrong. Let's say from a hard-boiled political basis, this isn't what wins or loses elections right now, or hasn't. It hasn't been raised enough to be an issue. And like I said earlier, I'd imagine this is a many years in the making issue that nobody has even tried to tackle.
Well, I was very happy with, and I've been very happy with what Mr. Ham's done as compared to what Mr. Dunn had done before him.
Good. And
that something can be made better would be good to do. Right now, though, Kay Ivey, as far as what she's done, she didn't like it when she was kind of blamed for the guy that got out up here in Guntersville and committed the murder of a grandmother, grandson, and a neighbor, just because he wanted to go back into prison. And that's why we have such a parole and pardon board that doesn't let anybody out. I mean, it's just such a minuscule amount. And I do not believe in letting anyone out that deserves to be in there. But you don't just, because you don't want to be seen as soft, make a system be as rough as it humanly possibly can. And keep in mind, this new prison that's being built, it doesn't let us add one new person. This is just going to have the same amount of people that we've already got. Doesn't allow for any, it's not making us where we can put more people in prison. It's making the system where it's just equally just like it was before we spent $1 billion. But I guess I got on a soapbox again, y'all, but I appreciate you.
Well, that's what we do here. Appreciate it, Charles.
Tell about it. Have a great day, y'all.
272-9228. And I'm happy to hear from anybody on these issues.
I want to read a couple of stats out that I just found.
Yeah.
5 times as many people die in Alabama prisons as the national average. 325 deaths in 23, 161 deaths in the first 6 months of 2024, and at least 7 homicides in the first 6 months of 2024.
So does it state what the reason for the deaths are? Are any of them just natural death?
Well, they did say that they had one on the 49 died from suicide, alleged suicide.
It's crazy. And we do have a follow-up from Caleb Taylor on this Elmore County story, the guy with the attempted kidnapping. The state is concerned that if the defendant is released in the custody of ICE, he will be deported and he will never be held accountable for the crimes he's committed against a child victim in Elmore County. This is from Josh Cochran, Assistant District Attorney for the 19th Judicial Circuit. To ensure the defendant remains in Elmore County until this criminal case is concluded, the state requests the court issue an order for the defendant to be held in the custody of the sheriff of Elmore County until the conclusion of the criminal case. And I see you've already looked at this, Byron. He's a Mexican national who unlawfully entered the United States at an unknown place and location. Officers from Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Enforcement and Removal Operations New Orleans encountered this guy on January the 3rd after he was arrested by the Elmore County Sheriff's Office in Alabama for attempted kidnapping. He has an extensive ICE encounter history that includes 6 previous removals and 2 federal convictions for illegal entry. Been placed on by detainer by the Enforcement and Removal Operations aspect of ICE. An immigration detainer is a request from ICE to state or local law enforcement agencies to notify ICE before an illegal alien is released from their custody. This guy's bond has been set at $100,000. But here's the timeline for this guy. He was arrested by U.S. Border Patrol May 26, 2013 near Kingsville, Texas, and was granted a voluntary return to Mexico. He returned May 31st, 2013.
So this guy's been doing this for 12 years?
Yeah. An immigration judge in El Paso, Texas, issued a final order of removal in May of 2016, 3 years later, and orders removal to Mexico. He returned the same day. He was then arrested by U.S. Border Patrol on January 3rd, 2019 in California and processed as a reinstatement of a final order of removal. The U.S. District Court in the Southern District of California convicted him for illegal reentry and sentenced him to time served January 9th, 2019, then arrested again in Texas in September of 2019 and processed him for reinstatement of final order of removal. It's like it's repeating itself over and over again. Appreciate the reporting by Caleb Taylor there at 1819 News if y'all want to look at this yourself. And you just sent me, Byron, sort of a timeline.
Yeah, I found it on the interwebs real quick.
Of the prison problem. Man, this goes all the way back to 1976. So my instincts seem confirmed. It started with the court case Pugh v. Locke, federal court order addressing system-wide living conditions. That's in 76. 1998, Austin v. Hopper, federal case concerning unconstitutional conditions of confinement such as chain gangs, whipping posts, and denial of visitation. Bradley v. Haley et al. In 2000, federal case concerning mental health treatment in men's prisons. Few cases in 2002, Hope v. Pelzer, Supreme Court hitching post case raising 8th and 14th Amendment constitutional violations. Laub v. Haley, case concerning unconstitutional conditions of confinement and overcrowding in Alabama's women's prisons. Leatherwood v. Haley, case concerning HIV unit conditions and medical care. In 2014, Tutwiler Prison for Women, federal investigations of Tutwiler's rampant sexual abuse. In 2017, Braggs v. Dunn, ongoing federal lawsuit concerning unconstitutional treatment of severe mentally ill incarcerated individuals. In 2020, United States v. State of Alabama, federal lawsuit over unconstitutional violence, corruption, and understaffing across Alabama's prisons for men. And we used a lot of that ARPA money, right, to build 2 new prisons. Well, it looks like we'll maybe get one. We'll get one.
So really, I mean, 2014 and up really resonates.
Yeah. What an absolute mess. Absolute mess.
But hey, we're getting a new state house.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Your tax dollars, folks.
This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health, and they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you men out, especially if you're feeling a whole load of different symptoms all happening at the same time, like lack of motivation, energy, and drive, like mentally and physically. You're tired. You're also seeing a decrease in your sex drive, unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass. Just feel like you're walking through your life, trudging through mud and in a fog. Well, all of that together could especially point to low testosterone. So you should at least stop by there at Montgomery Men's Health, and the providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And if you do have low T, they have treatments there at Montgomery Men's Health that can truly change men's lives. Men can experience after treatment higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can actually book the same day that you call that number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. So going back to federal news, but pertaining to the state of Alabama, I think Craig Monger just put this out on 1819 News, reporting, I got the press release earlier today. United States Senator Katie Britt named deputy whip in new Republican majority-controlled Senate. U.S. Senator John Barrasso is the whip and named Alabama's junior senator to serve as deputy whip as the GOP prepares to take on a new Congress with a majority of both legislative bodies. Deputy whips serve their party by working with other senators to advance the party's agenda. Deputy whips work mainly behind the scenes under the party's whip, assisting in vote counting, legislative strategy, building coalitions, ensuring compliance and unity among party members, and more. I'm honored Senator Barrasso chose me to join his team as one of his deputy whips. Britt said, our new Senate Republican majority is a tremendous opportunity to get things done and enact President Trump's agenda. As deputy whip, I'm excited to help unite our conference and make a difference in the lives of hardworking Americans. Well, that's good news. And then I just saw, as I was kind of getting ready for the show, like a very beautifully shot video. Somebody, in fact, by somebody, I mean Senator Britt, walking through the halls right outside the Senate chamber. And so let's just share this with the folks out there. Let's tune in.
Hey everyone, Katie Britt here. I am on my way to the floor to actually preside over the Senate for the very first time.
Oh.
So how this works is the party that's in the majority in the Senate sits in the chair. So it's the vice president's chair. So this is a chair that vice presidents, Supreme Court justices, senators have sat on over time. And so when the vice president is not present, the president pro tem sits in the chair, and then members of that party fill the chair throughout the day. So I start at 11 o'clock as the youngest Republican female ever to sit in the chair. It's certainly an honor, and it's not lost on me how many people and women did things all across this country, both sides of the aisle, to make this a reality. And I hope this moment inspires other young women and other people across the nation that they can do big things as well. And so have a great day. I'm going to continue to fight for Alabama, for our values and our people, and excited about what I'm about to do. Tune in.
Oh, with that nice, is that her signature? That's nicely done. Actually, that is, whoever shot that, I wonder what sort of camera that is. It was kind of well produced.
Very cinematic.
Do you think it floated, or do you think it was on track?
I think it's Steadicam of some sort. Yeah, I think it's somebody walking back and some sort of steady. Because I didn't see any track on the floor, so I don't know. But it's not just Senator Britt up to things. The senior senator, Tuberville reintroduces Protect Women and Girls in Sports Act. And, of course, this is taking on what the Biden administration has done to weaken Title IX through rulemaking at the Department of Education, which should be done away with. But Tuberville has been fighting this fight to protect women's sports during his entire time in the Congress. Last year, he forced a vote on an amendment that would protect female athletes by keeping men out of women's sports. All 51 Democrats failed to support that. They all voted against that bill. But Tuberville put out, President Trump ran on the issue of saving women's sports and wanted a landslide. 70% of Americans agree men don't belong in women's sports or locker rooms. I have said many times that I think Title IX is one of the best things to come out of Washington, but in the last few years, it has been destroyed. And the original co-sponsor of the bill is Katie Britt. So senators, I think they're going to be having a lot more fun in a majority up there. I think the trouble spot's probably going to be the House with that very thin majority they have. We'll see. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Just reflecting here before I hit a break. I'm having a lot of fun covering the national stories. Like yesterday was a lot of fun. When we opened the show, you saw how happy I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just this new year, 2025. I've experienced this often, this feeling where I'm like, okay, things are getting done nationally. And that might be frustrating, but there's actually kind of hope here and they're fighting the good fight. And whenever I start focusing on Montgomery or even the state of Alabama's government, there's just something about it that makes me sad.
Do you feel helpless?
No, that's not the feeling.
Okay. Do you feel like it's, you got strong headwinds? Like you just don't feel like it's going to be as likely that we can have major change here?
Yes.
Is it because of leadership?
Some of it's leadership, and I think some of it's
apathy on the voters.
Well, some of this is, it gets to point Papa B made, and others have made many times, the whole idea of repent.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to, it's what I wrote about. It's my op-ed out today. Like the more you rely on politics, even if you have the best cause, noble cause, worthy goal in the world, the political process is always going to bring with it, I think, a little bit of evil, a little bit of lying. And the more you rely on the political process in order to solve wide, deep cultural, societal problems, I think you're deceiving yourself. And these problems are not going to go away. And so why I get frustrated, it's like, okay, you can do big things real quick, changing the law nationally, and the state house can even change things too. But when you have teenagers killing each other in the streets, I mean, I really do go, how do you solve that?
Yeah, that's a spiritual problem. Government can't flick a pen that's going to do anything substantial about that.
Well, and you better watch out. People were wondering the Biden administration's DOJ was going to do something. The Trump DOJ might very well bring the hammer down on Alabama because of the prisons. Because you just look at that timeline you sent me. Mm-hmm. This is 3-4 decades of case after case saying y'all's prisons are miserable. You're hurting people this way, that way, and the other way.
And go back and look at 2014 up. Those aren't small issues.
No.
I mean, the Tutwiler thing still resonates.
Yeah, these are very massive issues. Like the sexual abuse of women at Tutwiler, the unconstitutional treatment, that's a nice way of putting it, legal way of putting it, of severe mentally ill incarcerated individuals, and then the big lawsuit over violence, corruption, and understaffing. That's the sort of thing where you're like, well, you should be able to pass laws and change things. But again, like it goes back to a change of the heart at the end of the day, and it's a culture-wide thing, and that's what just kind of brings me down. It seems like such an insurmountable problem. I don't necessarily personally feel helpless. It's more like, what are you going to do other than look at this and just shake your head and be like, I hope other people start behaving right.
Well, when enough people get upset about it,
yeah,
that's when you'll actually see a little.
But was I wrong with what I said earlier? This is not the issue that seems to, at least, maybe it'll change, but this is not the issue people bring up in the primaries, where all the action is in this state.
Brother,
doesn't make or break election.
There's so many different issues. I mean,
yeah.
Whoever it was said, we're looking at the symptoms instead of the cause. All these issues are the symptoms.
Yeah.
It is just bad leadership, bad politicians in positions that they shouldn't be in because they're more worried about what's best for them instead of the people in this state. Period. End of story.
Well said. This part of the program, again, brought to you by Dylan Rings. And there at Dylan Rings, Josh and Leslie Ryder are ready to help you out as a full-service jewelry shop. So that could be like a spa treatment for that jewelry. Say you got a ring that you love, you wear all the time, but it does not shine and shimmer like it did when it was new. Well, Josh Ryder can make it shine and shimmer like it's brand new again, but it's the same ring, say, you love, and any sort of jewelry can help you out with that. Or you can do repair work. You can do custom design work. It could be made fully from scratch, like you had a dream about it, and he draws it up for you, and you're like, this is amazing. Or it could be you want to combine different types of jewelry, like we showcased earlier. Really poignant thing a widow had made of a gift that her husband gave her along with the wedding band and made into a pendant for a necklace. Really beautiful work Josh did there. They can also do appraisals, and don't forget about their amazing selection there at 119 Brown Springs Road. From high-end jewelry to that everyday jewelry, still looks great, but it's not going to break your heart or break the bank, say, if you, you're out on the beach or you're out on the town and, you break it or something. It's going to be all right. They've got whatever your budget is, they got something for you there at Dillon Ring. So y'all check them out today. Get by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
It's Johnny from Sinclair's on Vaughn Road. We've been in business almost 30 years.
Sinclair's East. Vaughn at Taylor.
I think if you hadn't tried us, you should give us a try. We've got a great menu, offered anything from chicken fingers, wings, salads, fajitas. At lunchtime, we do great country lunch with different vegetables and different meats every day.
Sinclair's, where you get great sandwiches and our daily meat at 3 special at lunch, to great pasta, chicken, steaks, and seafood for dinner.
Our most popular items are, we got a soup called she crab soup, which is extremely popular. We've got a bunch of pasta dishes, which people love. Mediterranean chicken is my favorite.
Sinclair's.
We do live music, light stuff on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then on Fridays and Saturdays, maybe 3-piece bands or 4-piece bands.
Come see why Sinclair's has seen lesser restaurants come and go over the years. Johnny Sullivan Sinclair's, at the corner of Vaughn and Taylor. Find them on Facebook at Sinclair's East. Google search Sinclair's Restaurant. Sinclair's.
Tucker Pecan is in a brand new location at 1935 Mulberry Street, but they've still got the same great products they had when they were downtown. Here's David Little to tell you more.
Hey, David Little at Tucker Pecan here. I tell you what, since we have moved, we've had great response. We have a lot of people coming by our new store on 1935 Mulberry Street, and it's a lot of fun. You know why? Because we're getting to add new items. We're adding new candies, new jellies, new jams. We even have a honey called Hot Pecan Butter. It's so good. We have a hot honey. We have a peach jam. We have a hemp jelly that is mangoes, pineapples, and jelly. It is so good. We've got all those things. Plus, we've got all the great candies we've had before. And, we're in a very convenient location. You don't have to go to downtown. You come to Tucker Pecan at 1935 Mulberry Street. Come shop with us, and we'll take care of all your gift needs, candies, or if you're just hungry, come by, and we'll fix you up.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Hi, everybody. This Arctic cold is going to hang on and on with a series of cold days and frigid nights. Tonight slowed down to about 24, but the wind chill factor will fall to the teens once again. Thursday and Friday, high temperatures only in the mid-40s. The coldest night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, low 22. Some risk of a rain and snow mix, perhaps. Very late Thursday night, early Friday. No accumulation expected, no travel problems in our part of the state. Friday's high temperature only 45. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Thank you for voting ASC Credit Union, the best credit union in the River Region 6 years in a row. As we celebrate our 70th anniversary, we are proud to be at the top of the list for the best credit union in the hearts of the communities we serve.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. It's to do some views in the afternoon. Now, Madeline, you've not heard this clip yet. You were wondering, like, what's this whole thing with the Gulf of Mexico being renamed? And you're wondering, like, you know, what actually goes into that? Well, here's the clip. This is Trump at the press conference. It happened at about 11 our time earlier today, and he threw this one out there.
We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
And it's, wait, who isn't, that's just inappropriate, Mr. President.
Well, I hate I missed that. Thank you for bringing me up to speed.
Yeah, and I guess the mayor of Orange Beach is saying, like, he loves his idea that Trump wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America. So, all right. Let's go to Kilroy on line one. Hey, Kilroy.
Hey, good afternoon, folks.
Hey.
I just wanted to sort of correct Charles from a little bit earlier, talking about the Pardons and Parole Board not letting anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
It may be true that they're not paroling as many people, but they're certainly letting them out, and they call it early release. We released 369 people in 2022 and 412 people last year. No telling how many this year. And these aren't your just, white-collar crimes, drug users, this and that. If you want two of the most heinous examples, do a quick Google search of Ronald Coley out of Escambia and Michael Jerome Butler out of Greenville. And these are people that should have never been let out and went on some of the worst crime runs of anybody.
Right. Well, and this is I wouldn't want that job on the parole board in the sense that if your bias probably is to keep somebody in, because if you make the mistake of letting one person out that then reoffends and does so in heinous ways, and it looks like this guy, he was rearrested for allegedly raping the same woman.
Ronald Coley. That's him.
Good God. Yeah,
and I looked up Michael Jerome Butler. He went on a murder rape spree as soon as they let him out, too.
Yeah. And it's like, when I was asked earlier about what should Trump do with pardons and stuff, like, you can't do blanket statements on this stuff. You have to look at the particular case. You have to look at the particular person. But I think, I know there are some folks that feel like they deserve to get out and they've been done wrong and they never get a fair shake. But you can't make that mistake and let some violent monster, malevolent monster back out into the public to reoffend. It's just irresponsible.
Nope, and that's just the two names on the top of my head. I've got a whole list I can send you, or I'll bring them to you at bomb hours. There are more child rapists, cop killers, you name it, and they're just blanket. If you've served a third of your time, let them out.
Well, it goes back to the failure of the prison system because it's supposed to be for reformation, right? You don't want them to be there forever. You want them to be reformed and reacquainted with society, right? But obviously that's not happening.
No.
Yeah, some of them need to be there forever.
I don't know if that's ever really happened, to be fair. I mean, the prison system across the country, if you can show me one that actually...
but they claim that's their goal, is what I'm saying.
They say that's what they're trying to do.
Oh, and there are individual instances somebody does change.
Individual, yeah. But on a whole, no.
Right, no. No, and I think you're mixing two things, or we... Generally speaking, we've been mixing two things. I think there are certain folks, what they deserve is punishment and justice. And then there are others that probably can be rehabilitated. They've made a mistake when they're young. Or some folks, generally, they're not a huge risk, so we'll grant you mercy. But from what you're saying, it sounds like it's in the hundreds the last few years that have been released early, Kilroy?
369 in 2022 and 412 in 2023.
Wow.
And then I would want to know, of those released early, how many do reoffend?
Oh, the recidivism rate's up in like close to the 90s last I heard. It's
okay.
It's insane. Now, they're letting some of them out for doing drugs, but, you're talking about rehabilitation, you can't rehabilitate someone who hurts a child.
Right. There are truly malevolent monsters, and they deserve punishment.
Yeah. I just wanted to make that clarification to Charles. Yes, they are letting them out. They're just calling it something different these days. Early release. and they're supposed to show up. They have to show up on their own to get their ankle monitors. And how many of those you think, in the case of Ronald Coley, he was supposed to show up for his own fitting, never did. Stick it on him when you let him out.
Well, I appreciate the information. I did not know all that stuff. Thank you, Kilroy.
Yeah, what kind of nonsense is that? You're going to release these people and then rely on them to come get their ankle monitors later on?
That is nonsense.
Come on.
Let's go to James. Hey, James.
What kind of nonsense?
All kinds, James.
I think the key word there, if we're teaching someone to read closely, is nonsense. Since George Corley Wallace, all of my life, our prison systems have been in a mess. And part of the issue that we have is we are 49th in taxation. Nobody likes taxes, but in 2022, 2023, 2024, our legislature went out of the way to reduce them, affecting adversely the Education Trust Fund. And when you do that, you're going to have problems on the other end.
Yeah, but hasn't revenue to the state been increasing for many years now?
That's something I'm going to have to do some research on, Joey. But
yeah, I think revenue's been increasing and our spending has been increasing.
What I know, based on my reading in the Advisor just this morning, the Education Trust Fund was affected to the tune of $230 million. And
is that in particular about the overtime tax being exempted?
I think that's exactly in particular to
well,
the overtime
I
tax.
tend to agree with Anthony Daniels, who helped push that more than, David Bronner, in the sense that I think that 230, you need to score it dynamically.
All right. But I'll
and by the way, let's increase the budget for the Education Trust Fund even more. Like, where are the results? Like, how much money are we going to throw into education in the state to have kids that can't read? So
Joey,
people can have full employment.
Why do we still have two budgets, man?
Let me ask you this question. How easy is it to throw out that kids that can't read? What are our percentages and how do we arrive at them? It's kind of like if I decide I'm going on a mission and I'm going to castigate the football coach at the 9th grade because he's got kids on his team that can't read. They didn't all of a sudden just land in the 9th grade and couldn't read, and now he's got them on their football team. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't create the situation. He just inherited it.
Okay.
And what I'll leave you with is this. No taxes, no services. Now, I realize that's a big blanket I'm putting out there, and we have to look at each one of these as individuals. In other words, the individual situation, where the tax comes from and what we're getting out of it, and how much corruption is involved. I understand that. That's why we have earmarks in Alabama, but some people are scared of those earmarks. But the reason we have earmarks that go to the Education Trust Fund, for example, is because there was a time before my walking on this planet, which was started in 1963 at 9 months, there wasn't a school that ran for 9 to 10 months out of the year. They went as long as there were funds, and often there was only funds for 2 months at the time. So if we get in a situation where we don't have a public school system, you're not going to have the infrastructure in your private schools, whether it's Montgomery or outlying areas or wherever across the state, to handle all the children that are getting this money out of school choice. And then when they get that money, and that starts this year, somebody better be there to monitor it. Because if it's not, you think that money's going to go to those kids' education, that $7,000 a year? if somebody doesn't have oversight on it, you can just about bet it's not going anywhere. It won't go to MA, it won't go to Trinity, it won't go to Catholic, it won't go to Akaga Academy or Meadowview Christian or any private school you can name across this state. And we already know that if they sit at home and they're getting their education online, the retention of what they, in other words, recall of what they're supposedly learning is minimal. It's bad enough when you got a teacher in the classroom. That's one thing I can definitely speak to.
Yeah, no doubt.
Joey, have a nice day, brother.
So raise taxes and everything will be grand. Nonsense.
Let's figure out how our tax dollars are being spent first. Let's do that.
Yeah, why do we still have two separate budgets?
The long and the short of it is that the Paul Hubbard dinosaur is not fossilized long enough yet.
Yeah, we're still reacting to the Bourbon Democrats from what? The post-war era?
No, I mean, it's seriously Hubbard and they, yeah.
Right. Well, it's amazing, too, when you turn your public education system into a huge political piggy bank.
The strongest,
pick winners and losers, punish your enemies, and help your friends. It's amazing how it doesn't have the good outcome for people.
I mean, but you want to act like they don't have sway. I mean, they got Bentley elected. I mean, they still have political cachet.
Oh, and they're trying still.
They're cute. They try. No, that was the last big win they had.
I was about to say, they're trying, but we'll see. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And they're at the Goodson Group. Bo and his team are ready to help you, whether you're looking to buy or sell here in the River Region real estate market. Bo's been working in this area for nearly half a century now. And so he's seen it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if you're looking for a great guy that can help you out, again, whether you're looking to buy or sell here in the Montgomery and surrounding areas, you can always check out the Goodson Group, or maybe you want to rent out your home. They have management services available should you want to do that. And then, of course, the crown jewel there is the Bo Goodson Real Estate School, one of the most highly acclaimed real estate programs in the state, because, well, it's a very interactive course. You're learning from that 50 years of experience there with Bo, but you're also, he's not going to let you just sit there like a bum on a log. And here's the proof. There have been so many folks who have graduated from the Bo Goodson Real Estate School and gone on to great success, whether it's more knowledgeable private players or fully licensed real estate agents. Y'all check them out today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group, great sponsor here of the program.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt, professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the River Region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best in service the rest.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's get right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Bradville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Man, we are doing great. How about you guys?
Oh, life's good, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm getting, Dad said, I'll try to do 3 things a day every day of my life. I want to sleep 7 hours. I do that every night. I want to walk 25 minutes. Let's not get crazy. He said, and I want to read my Bible every day. I said, okay, I can check. I'm on board. Let's scrap the 25 minutes of walking. We have cars. I mean, come on. Why do we need to walk?
I agree with you,
Y'all have
but
a good reason to do it?
no,
Yeah,
if I can
35
drive,
degrees
I'll
outside.
drive. Right.
Yeah, there's no reason. If you see me running, y'all better leave quickly. Because something's wrong.
Right. If he's risking a knee injury or pulling a hammy, you know something's wrong.
Yeah, if my lungs are about to explode, there's a reason for it. It's not good, guys. So, but hey, we're still in the floor covering business. And if you don't mind, if you need a floor, call us 285-8117. We're going to come out and give you that free measurement, go over all the cool styles and colors. And next thing you know, you got a floor down. Just that simple.
It really is that simple, folks. Again, that number, 285-8117. When you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to tell them that you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey fella.
Hey, y'all have a great day.
Appreciate it, Ray. Let's go to Don. Hey, Don, how you doing, man?
Good afternoon. Just got back from good old Biloxi. Hey, maybe that guy that was just talking about money in school system could tell me, where has $500,000 superintendent been better than a $150,000 superintendent in the state of Alabama?
Well said. No,
I mean, it's always money, and it doesn't do anything.
Yep.
You know, Trump says we're in the day of common sense. I got an idea. Let's teach them just to read and write and discipline.
Yeah, just that. And
yeah, I mean, they had it's been a few years, but there was a Indian reservation where they hired the guy. First thing he did, he came in and threw away the computers, tablets, and everything, and just got simple math books and reading books, and they improved test scores on everything. Money is not going to improve anything, especially in a city like Montgomery, where all you got is a bunch of nepotism. I mean, the teachers probably can't even read and write. But we're not going to ever criticize them and just give them more money. You know, money is not the answer for education. It's simple common sense. But in Montgomery, we just got to pay more and more so we can get that great doctor from somewhere who doesn't improve nothing. You can find a $150,000 superintendent in a small county in Alabama who done a hell of a lot better job.
exactly right. And it comes down to the actual human beings leading a certain institution. But when it comes to more money and more bureaucratic process, that's a good way to waste a lot of money.
People would give money if there was evidence that it did anything. I mean, before you get it, tell me what you're going to do with it. How's it going to prove anything? I mean, we're in a situation now where you give kids books and computers, and if they tear them up, we just give them another one. You know,
right.
that is never going to work until you get discipline and just simple education.
Amen. Appreciate the call, Don.
It's like personal finance. Like if you
Yeah.
can't manage making $30,000 a year, you're
Right.
not going to be able to manage making $130,000 a year. It's not a money issue; it's a spending issue.
Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
That's why they say, how much is the payment? They don't want to know the interest rate. They just want to know if they can make the payment every month.
That's right.
Madeline,
Yes.
you said earlier that you were a lawyer, really?
I have a law degree. I don't practice law.
you even thought about you. We all thought highly of you. You should have kept that under wraps.
She said she didn't follow through on it. She's smart enough to know when lawyers are screwing with her. She's just not one.
Right.
I'll stick up for her on this one. I was listening.
But the reason of my call, what I'm proposing, Joey, is what was the dude's name? James, the teacher that likes to. Anyway, I suggest a cage match. Him and Craig Monker, education. Put them in there, and one of them gonna throw a white flag. How about that? It is asinine to spend a $1.4 billion and be 50th. Well, 49. Mississippi, I don't know. Mississippi said thank God. Alabama.
We'll be 51 whenever we get Canada, so.
And then when we get Greenland, we'll be 52.
Amen.
But then we'll take over Mexico, and then we'll move up a chain because I'm pretty sure they're not real smart down there. You know how the Mexicans are. But, you know, I'm old enough.
Things are devolving quickly here.
They don't mind. They said we'll speak good.
Yeah, they say the same thing about us. Yeah. Well, I got to run, Roger. Appreciate the call as always.
Thanks, Essa.
Yeah, in 2024, the ETF was 9.3 billion. Well, we talk about the prisons and like the judiciary and all the other stuff in this state. That's all in the general fund. Like, seriously, I say combine it. Something's got to give.
Yes.
Right.
I don't understand why this hasn't happened.
Well, because if you ask my advice, people are mad about a little bit of a pilot program for school choice or for no taxes on people that choose to work harder and work overtime. If you ask me, Joey, what do you do with education? I abolish it. Go away. You'll be amazed at how many people can make do, and you'll be amazed at how much expecting the least out of people will lead to them doing the least.
I heard someone say yesterday, actually, he believed that the key to solving public education was to focus on reading, writing, math, and science, and that's it. You give the people the tools they need, empower them to take responsibility for their own education and get out of the way.
And I've made this point before. When you look at this world where information is like right at your fingertips all the time, it's like free almost. How much do the freaking textbooks cost? How much does all this stuff cost? It's just, anyway, I'm going to get off this because I'm out of time. And I love seeing both of you. Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for having me. It's been real. It's been fun, but it's not been real fun.
I had fun.
The Gulf of America. It's appropriate. It's very appropriate. Gulf of America. We're going to do great things. And on that note,
see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Happy hour, Greg Beadle. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center. This is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.